Yeah, the chat might be good to put in here, right? Test, test, test. Okay. Maybe somebody can hear me. People are saying finally they can hear me. Okay.
Okay, good.
All right. Thank you for all of your patience as we do this. We were having some audio issues earlier, so once we get the okay for all the mics, we'll get ready to go. So it looks like Rob has maybe fixed the problem, but what a good number that was there coming through. It looks like the market wants this this number 27 as expected coming through for CPI, and there goes the Nasdaq now up 0.64. It looks like we're starting to run here nicely. The volume is well into this right here, so we're going to be able to watch and figure out what's going on. We want to thank everybody for your patience as we continue the show, but 2.7 coming out as expected, 2.8. We have some bad news bears today with Big Bear AI. They're down 30%. We talked about this. Not a great number at all. Nothing really nice to talk about here with Big Bear AI. So that's going. I don't know, Neil, do you want to test your mic? Can we?
Testing, is it working? Can you guys hear me?
Is there a thumbs up for Neil?
My mic working, guys?
Let us know if you guys can hear Neil. We do apologize. I mean, obviously we're going through these renovations, and as you guys can see, you know, you have Rob running around here. Fabian's not in
hiccups. It looks
yet.
like looks like we're locking on it, ready to go. Look, across the board, we already knew we were getting them cuts. You had to give us our cuts, but with that number, that just solidified it. To me, the only thing that could have gone the other way is you had to have
I mean, it's a better inflation number. So
it's better than expected. It had to go big the other way.
Yeah, to guarantee the cut. But.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, anybody that's thinking that we're not getting to September, it seems rather unlucky. I didn't update the Fed Watch tool just yet.
I was just doing it right now.
But with the markets pressing on the 2/3% up, I just saw NVDA go 1%.
Now.
How is it 82? Okay,
yeah,
maybe
it's getting worse.
Update.
Yeah. No, what are you expecting it to be?
No, I expected it to be no worse than yesterday.
Okay, well, no, but this is a better number,
better.
right? So it means inflation's more under control. So,
exactly.
So they don't need to raise. They don't need to cut.
Well, I think it gives them all.
Yeah, so do I. No, I think the same thing.
All systems go.
I think it's because it was, because it was as expected, pretty much. Yeah, it's a weird one, but definitely no raise. I'm sure about that.
Oh.
Plums. Okay, thank you, Randy.
Why? No, the bananas are not very ripe.
For all that. So, okay, so here's the numbers. I mean, I know there's a lot of you that might have missed these numbers and probably did miss them, to be honest with you. Here it is right here. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit, but it's the U.S. CPI year over year, 2.7 versus 2.8. The month over month is 2 versus 2, and then 3 versus 3. So we're all here. It's all as expected. It's the year over year number that's coming a little cooler at 2.7 versus 2.8. So, yeah, you know, the market go boom a little bit on that, you know, nice move to the upside, sort of regaining some of that momentum that potentially we had thought about losing there yesterday. You know, stocks like NVIDIA and AMD keep on getting up to the all-time highs again. I mean, we're looking at NVIDIA. We do have a bad wick down to the bottom right there, but that's trying to go to the upside. Again, you know, a name like Tesla, I know there's a lot of people looking at all of these. We'll see if we can see a 350 marker here today again, up 1.8%. I mean, look at this move for Tesla. Boom, straight up $5. So that was a nice one top to bottom right there. But yeah, it looks like Bitcoin right here as well, 19. And then Joe was talking about Ethereum. I don't know what spot Ethereum is right now, but there's another 3% added to that. So you're going to look at BMNR. 4,400?
43.9 something, close to 4,400.
What is the high?
All-time high is close to 40. It's like 48 something.
Okay, so you're right there.
So like you've got a little bit of room on ETH, but this is absolutely blasting. And remember, the stablecoin game going to be in play today. Why? Because Circle reported earnings. So Circle earnings, at the end of the day, and we'll talk about this with regards to Circle, that they're up, but the measures were not necessarily about your traditional metrics on Circle. It had way more to do with just the overall growth, platform growth, and the EPS doesn't really make a difference. And it was a bunch of small cap earnings that we're going to talk about as well. So, you know, OKLO and BBAI and ASTS, certainly none of those market moving. I guess we weren't expecting too much out of CPI. Like we thought would come in pretty flat. I'm glad it's booming the market. I really thought it was going to be a nothing burger and we wouldn't have any volatility. But wow, love the fact that this market just continues to go and go. Because what happened yesterday when we got that China extension, well, we got the 90-day pause and we basically sold off in the afternoon. Now all of a sudden we get a number as expected and we're blowing out the top. Bull markets are great because bull markets look for excuses to go up. And it looks like we found another one here. Oh, the shorts.
Yeah, I mean, everybody getting squeezed now.
They're not having a good time.
No, the Nasdaq up almost 1% here. The ES up 0.63. So here we go, man. It looks like the economy's going well. Inflation's under control. And so now you have great earnings, a great earnings season. You have, hopefully now, the Fed was the 83% cut, so that's on pace now. You have the president, working out all these tariff deals, and a well-received one yesterday with NVIDIA and some of these chip plays there, right? So yeah, good earnings, Fed on your side. Seems like the president on the side of the stock market right now with these tariffs, and lower rate environment. I mean, this is what we're doing. So, and you get crypto going. So everybody involved with crypto also gets to win here today. Look, it's going to be a good day one more time. I mean, every day is a good day when you're above ground, that's for sure. But for right now, here it goes, man. BMNR, another 4% upside. We talked about what IBIT was doing earlier. It's at 19 right now. It's actually catching zeros right now, IBIT, but we'll wait to see what that's doing. But yeah, that's that. So pretty good overall. We still do have Mitch coming from Trade the Pool, so it looks like hopefully we'll get that audio figured out as well. But now that we're all ready to rock,
1, 2, 3,
we're ready to rock.
7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, okay, boy, we hear him right there. So Mitch, you are good to go right there. So yeah, we're gonna be getting some ideas from Mitch, and we should be ready to go. I got my hat on today. We've got our Trader TV Live hat on.
Lots of
so I'm sure Mitch probably might have the Trade the Pool hat on. It's fight. No, we work great together. We want to thank Trade the Pool for coming through all the time, and for Mitch for coming through. So yeah, it's 8:44. Let's go back to the desk here. There's lots to talk about. We've got the notes ready to go. We want to thank again everybody for your patience, and thank you for yelling and screaming at us in the chat as if we had no idea what was going on. I mean, that was pretty.
It's like, what?
And here we are. We thought the audio was working.
Telling me it wasn't working?
Yeah, we purposely went live a minute earlier just to give you guys the goods, and then we got trashed with the sound. So we're trying our best over here. We thank everybody for your patience. So it was Adara's fault.
Get it, Adara.
Ouch.
Yeah, no,
That
it was nobody's fault. It was actually funny because when we sat down here, Dara's like, "Oh my God, my computer doesn't have internet," and then it was
that is true.
That was like
an ominous start.
Yeah, that was like the start of it all, right there. But no, all good. Thanks, Rob, Randy, Andre, for all the work over there. But okay, let's go back and see if Brendan and Sharif have voices.
All right. If anyone cannot hear, then just let us know. But yes, we do apologize for it was a software issue that we were having. So it seems to be resolved. Let's get a quick recap here first to start things off for anyone who missed it at 8:30. Again, a slight uptick on the month-over-month core number, specifically 0.3% versus a 0.2% print expected. Down here, though, the one that matters, 2.7, slight, I mean, it depends on where you look, slight downtick depending on the expectation that you're looking at. Some had 2.8, some had 2.7. 3.1 on the year-over-year core number versus 3% expected as well. So the market loving these numbers so far this morning. We're right back to yesterday's high, struggling a little bit to get through yesterday's high. I'm just having a look at a lot of green numbers right now across all of the boards that are in front of me. Let's bring in Mitch Hoke, analyst over at Trade the Pool, get his take on, I mean, Mitch, let's be honest, a lot of people were talking pretty cautiously ahead of this number this morning. There was a lot of headlines suggesting this could be the one. Everyone's kind of waiting for that tariff effect to come through on inflation, but not here yet.
Yeah, I mean, as we think about it, the most recent tariffs were just put on, right? So like I always say, this takes a long time to trickle into the economics. It's not just something that shows up in a month. Now, one thing you do see in the CPI report, why did we come down? What was there, right? Well, energy slightly ticking down, right? So that's kind of classic in the summer months that we get a little bit of a cheaper gas price, right? Everyone just tries to go on these long road trips, but now we're going into the fall. So we got to continue to watch how energy kind of reacts here. Of course, there's a lot of tensions in the global markets, wars everywhere, right? It seems like oil hasn't gotten that lift. Of course, OPEC trying to push production and push the oil prices down, and so is Trump. So if you want to look to see if inflation is going to spike, I think you continue to watch energy. And then the only place where it hasn't gone which is shelter. Of course, food, we're continuing to watch that, but those are always trickles up like by 0.1. So I could say that it's energy that's the focus here if you're looking for inflation to come in, right? Other than that, I think right now what we need to kind of keep watch is that this opens the door for a rate cut in September. I was in the camp that maybe we don't get a rate cut at all this year, but it's pointing more and more that we could get this rate cut, at least one rate cut coming up here in September. So that leaves the door open for the late inning rally. That's the way I see it right now. We're definitely in the late innings because there are some momentum names that are breaking. But what did you start to see? A little bit more of a rotation and flight to quality. So that's what I'm focusing on now, guys. If you take a look at the big boys, Tesla, Meta, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, they're all looking good. You can even include Google. I didn't include it because I didn't think it was the best chart, but I think these kind of 5 names are looking to drive the market.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going through some of those names as you were listing them off there, and I mean, loving this number. Big tech in general going to be loving this number, loving this overall market move.
And if the rally is going to continue, it's going to come with another lift to tech. Right? Just keep an eye on it. You could also trade this with SMH, right? And XLK. But if you think about it, what happened last week, really? We got a quick shift in Apple that started to drive the market. We had good earnings that came out from Meta and Microsoft. They pulled back, giving you awesome entry opportunities. Microsoft, I think, is primed today to get going.
As far as the opportunities on the smaller side of the scale, I mean, you had a couple of interesting ones mentioned here. QS was one that we were talking about, I guess it was mid last week, off of their earnings reports. It hasn't done much since, but popping up here on this number so far this morning for QuantumScape.
Yeah, I'll give full disclosure. I do have a position on right now, swing in QS. Opened that up yesterday. I got 907, looking for this to run there towards the $10 and a little bit higher, maybe towards 11 and 12. This is also a play on lithium and the rare earths play right now. I've been talking lithium, guys. Have you guys seen how the move on SQM happened or ALB? I mean, those are kind of more your high quality plays, but this is a really great play that's starting. And we're talking about a couple of years of trend that's changing. And whenever you're having these types of moves, these could be longer moves that are just getting started. QS, of course, is in more that solid state battery, has Toyota backing. And I know Toyota, they want to get things right because they want to go ahead and include this battery in their next wave of EVs to really get them up to the next level. So I'd be watching to see that QS gets the lift here, goes a run there towards 10 today.
As far as the battery theme is concerned, we were talking a little bit about Lithium Americas last week on this show, but LAC, a couple of positive days here as well. What are you seeing with this one?
This is just a lithium play starting to really get hot, guys. And you guys are going to start to see this in many different lithium names. So if you see lithium names start to rise, there's a reason why. It's not just batteries either, right? There's all this data storage that's coming into play. So if we think about what has changed, back in like 2020, when we were thinking about this big EV move that was coming, we were all thinking about batteries. But now it's more about energy storage also for these AI infrastructure and for these data centers. So look for that to actually be the driver, not necessarily only batteries for EVs.
One we were discussing last week when you were on, you
wants to keep on going. So we're going to look to see if this one can break. This one has a nice kind of flagging pattern. You could maybe draw a symmetrical triangle if you take that undercut of the 9 out. But this looks like it wants to drive above 10. This is in the right space. This has been running exactly with MP. We all know MP just broke highs. So you got to continue to look for these metals and minerals companies to kind of continue the lift off. I like this name. I was watching for it yesterday. It did start going through 10. It pulled back to 970. The big buyers are stepping up at 10, and there's support around 970. So I'm looking for another lift off on this through 10 today to maybe take a quick trade.
Two different angles here on the interest rate front. As you were saying, with this number today, maybe we do get something a little bit closer to September, before the end of the year, at least as far as the Fed moving is concerned. But I mean, Zillow to the downside Hasn't really been a great play here over the past couple of weeks, but why are you liking this one short?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you actually look, this did get the lift, but it went right back to a trend line look. It just broke the trend line around 82. Now it did that blow off top around 88. My thing is housing the place that I want to be now? Because if you look at the supply and you're really looking into Zillow, trust me, guys, I'm looking to buy a house, so I've been looking into this. There's houses that are staying online for more than a year. So the average inventory is just staying online, right? This is not a buyer's market. This is strictly becoming a seller's market, and everybody wants out. You can tell because there's price cuts on houses now. That didn't exist a year ago. So look to see what happens here. I think this is a telling sign that, yeah, Zillow could get a lift here, but if the houses don't want to sell, at some point, you're going to start to see a deterioration.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar here, I got to be honest. I mean, there's small pockets of the real estate market that are still moving, but for the most part, condos especially are just not doing
It's
anything.
crazy. If you've ever looked at Zillow like a year ago, just open it right now. You'll see it. It's like, it's crazy how many little houses every single place wants to sell. And so what happens is there's competition for selling. So you're going to have to get to the point where you're going to have to be like adding incentives. I'll cut 20,000 if you close in a week, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people sitting on their hands, I think, too. I mean, all the headlines suggesting that interest rate cuts are coming. So, why jump into a mortgage?
Why would a buyer go buying right now?
Exactly.
Right?
Let's go to the other angle here, which is some of the lenders. You had Affirm as one of your long ideas today. Why?
Yeah, I'm looking at all these. They look really great. Affirm just recently had a nice lift off to 80. It's catching the 90 MA again, and this one loves to dump really quickly, wash out the bulls, and then come right back up. So more of a day trade, right? Just trying to ride the momentum up, maybe back to 76 today or towards the 78. And I really like SoFi in this space also. I think these are the two names you really want to be watching. As a side name, I'd give Lending Tree, just because I think what's happening right now is that we're opening the door to more lending. And with that being said, the gas pedal is going to be on with rate cuts coming. If rate cuts are coming and we're hitting the gas pedal on trying to get some lending out there, keep your eyes to see if these names can actually push on that end. If they do push on that end, then we could start to see maybe housing come back. But this is going to be the first kind of cycle in that, right? The lending companies have to hit that gas pedal. And for that mention, you could look at the banks, but they're not getting the appreciation. Of course, especially JPM and Bank of America, hated by Trump.
A lot of people on the investment side of things are from that mentality, sitting, kind of wondering what to do at this point. We're floating around here at all-time highs, breaching all-time highs once again for the overall market. What's the latest over at Trade the Pool on the swing side?
Yeah, so if you're looking to do swings, right, one of the biggest things about swings is that you have to pick your timing, right? There's some times where you got to be on the sideline, and then there's some times where you got to hit the gas pedal. This is what really determines even day traders alike, right? Because I think that's what it's all about, right? You're always going to have waves in your trading. There's risk on days, and there's days where you got to be on the safety side of things. So right now, of course, we have the flexible accounts. They go for an unlimited amount of time. This gives you the opportunity to just wait for the A+ setup versus trying to trade every single day, taking C+ setups, and then expecting them to give you A+ returns, right?
Mitch Hoke over at Trade the Pool. Great input, as always. Good to see you.
Yeah, guys, and one thing that I want to give you guys about, we're opening up the world to bot trading for Trade the Pool. So on the 18th, on Monday, you guys want to be there. If you want to learn how to make your own bot and trade for you. I know there's a lot of traders that struggle on one thing, and it's execution of strategy, not necessarily finding the strategies. So if you want to build a bot, come over to Trade the Pool on the 18th, and we'll show you exactly how.
I may join you, Mitch. I may join you.
We're all going into this space, man. With 24 hours, I don't know about you, but I want to go to sleep and wake up with 3 trades in the green.
Agreed. Good to see you, Mitch.
Yeah, definitely want to be ready for the 24/5, which is incoming. We all know this is happening next year for sure. But look, first of all, I like SoFi. I'm down with that call. We're down with that call around here. Turn SoFi into Robinhood would be perfectly fine with me. But what's interesting is I looked over. I kind of like the Google chart. I want to give Alphabet its due here because it's doing something, and obviously it hasn't broken the highs just yet. So the old caveat about going into overhead resistance does play, but it's been in a channel. And since earnings, trying to break out the top of this channel, there's a 203 break here today with a ton of overhead resistance, granted, but it looks pretty good. More like 202 and a half if you call it up. The only concern I would have is how many times have we seen this particular story, just in general, 8:30, we get a swift market reaction to an economic number, and oftentimes, I'm thinking at 9:30 you get that like reversion. Even if we're going to end up today with a strong day, is it likely to be we gap at 8:30 and then we just break out at the open? I feel like that's not usually the case, so I don't want to be too married to the notion that you have to buy some of these tops. Like there's a few names out there. It's like, I like to dip buy at this price, that price. I'm not going away from that just yet. But Alphabet, I do like that chart. Like nice little channel. The upside, I think, gets to that all-time high. Let's see if we can find some upgrades and downgrades with Adara.
Starbucks, top of the list here. Robert W. Baird upgrade. You can read more about this one on our watch list, our Trader TV Live watch list. Palo Alto Networks getting an upgrade here from Piper Sandler. Monday.com got hit really hard on earnings yesterday, but Morgan Stanley is still liking this one with a positive note. Last but not least, Chipotle. Piper Sandler upgrading this name, and apparently seeing about 20% upside. Getty Images kicking off the downgrades. They reported earnings last night, getting a negative note today from the benchmark company. Illumina getting a negative note from Daiwa Securities. Serve Robotics with a downgrade from Seaport Research. And last but not least, Cogent getting downgraded by Citigroup. Back to you.
Yeah, well, Starbucks, I mean, you could sort of say that one's out of nowhere. I mean, China extension, but they're looking to sell off their China business, which could generate some flow for them. What'll be interesting with Starbucks, we talked about yesterday. There was a moment early on in the morning when Palantir had like an obvious seller, right? Like there was just someone sitting at not sitting at the offer, but like every time we get past a certain price, sell, 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 and you can see it forming. Well, exactly the same thing is happening at Starbucks at 98. I think the long today seems like not the biggest catalyst in the world, but this is one not to forget if it ever breaks this seller in the high 90s. It's just one of those you have to have the 100 break when. As a day trader, you're going to have the $100 break when it happens. No such thing as you have to have it. But it's been obvious for a while on this stock. I don't know if you have this random upgrade and the pause. It's probably not enough to make that big of a dent today. But an alert certainly should be out. When it gets to like 97, 98 to be in play on this stock. It's still trying to make higher lows, but hasn't really done that blowout top just yet. And it's because of that 97, 98 to 100 level.
I looked at... It's funny because Chipotle, I guess, we had that good read last week from McDonald's I thought was pretty good. And then I was just looking at this chart as well. Chipotle's been like beat up real bad. They lost their CEO, Brian Nickel there. And whoa, there's the, there it is right here. So we go from $58 almost straight down, like no green candles. Thank you, Randy. Yeah, there's the Starbucks right there. Speaking
better than Starbucks.
Well, no.
Right
there, right through $43. Maybe that's a decent break that's going to happen here for Chipotle. Get this kind of garbage out of there and see if we can get back up to the upside. If I was in this name, maybe 46 to 47 could be an area there for Chipotle that you'd think about getting out, which would be close to that 10%. And Adair mentioned the upside there of maybe 20%. So that goes right back up to $50 right there for Chipotle. So I think that's one to look at as we may have bottomed out if you're trying to bottom pick a little bit.
This is going to be a silly question, but
it always is.
You heard about the big Ford news yesterday, the new Model T moment.
Yes, the lower
$30,000
yes,
EV pickup.
Yes. Yeah.
So what
That's
did Ford
nice.
do yesterday? Did they do anything at all?
Did Ford do anything? Here's the thing: the easiest answer to a question like that is, what does it usually do?
Nothing.
So what do we think it did yesterday?
Did nothing.
I thought there might be a mini bounce,
Well-
a micro bounce, a nano bounce.
It bounced and then it came back to
So
life.
the
There's
algos.
the announcement.
So the interesting thing is the algos actually bought it on the initial move, and then it just it's not that it got sold; it's that it ended up selling through where it was before.
Yeah.
So not only did it was worse than you would expect. But at the same time, this probably happened anyways because everything topped out in the morning and then drifted down. So probably it would have ended up in the same spot. But it's like they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Poor Ford. Anyway, just curious.
Yeah. Well, it's a good question, but it's one of those things where like there's this difference between like a company which can still sell products and generate revenue and it's going to be there in years from now and all that stuff, but is it actually going to give people the growth that they want to invest in it? And there's just a host of big companies like this now in auto, some of the healthcare stocks look like this too, where there's no one wants to invest in them, but they're still they got boatloads of revenue. And they're making a lot of cash, but nobody seems to care because everyone's chasing growth in this market. And it's just, that's what it is. And you just gotta, don't hate the player, hate the game. Like it's just, Ford's not it.
I mean, it hasn't been it for a minute, and I think that's part of the problem. There's a lot of traders obviously looking at the Teslas of the world right now as robo-taxi news kicks into gear. So yeah, I would just, I would hold off on Ford, but yeah, I mean, maybe it has bottomed. At some point, there's enough spots in people's portfolio to take shots on things. True. Talk about some shot plays that we've had that are not going that well today. Yeah, so let's go. We'll figure it out. But right now, Ford up 0.72 with the market. The market's pulling back a little bit here on the Nasdaq as we have that huge move up there as we solidify sort of the interest rate cut. It seems like now back up. Oh, Neil and I. We re-looked at this. So it was 82%, and then, as we were talking about it, that lower CPI should bring this to a more. Again? Yeah, so we looked, it was 90. I thought it was going to be 90. Now it's back to 94. So pretty much the highest we've seen it this week. It's only Tuesday, but 6.1% say no cut. Right now, 94% saying a cut. So as Mitch was saying, he's sort of changed camps as well, going from no rate cut, which would make sense. But now we get this number showing that the Fed now can safely cut. The numbers would be there, it's lower, but we still get August, September. What was the exact date? The 17th. So we still have 5 weeks of data to come, but this is looking pretty good, especially from the pressure on the president as well. So yeah, but the Nasdaq pulling back in. I think it's going to be a long today for sure. It's just a matter of trying to pick your spots. So we'll wait for that. No, sticky note is not out yet. We're still working on it. And yeah, we had some of those issues, so I was just a little bit flustered with all of that. So we'll figure it out. All right, so let's go back over to the desk and start our rundown.
Rundown time.
All right, guys. Sorry, Brando. 6,400 is where we close out exactly on the ES September contract yesterday with the overnight high, taking us just a smidge below that 6,450. So that's what we're going to use as resistance. Since we're so close to it, 6,450 we're going to use as a resistance. If we maintain our levels right now above 6,400, we're going to use that as support, and we're about 26 points, Brando, above that. So feels like it may be that kind of day.
All right, free stuff for you. As always, if you haven't done so, jump down to the description of this video. Top link there will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. We do your homework for you. Send it right to your inbox every single morning before we come on at 8:30. Super simple. All you need is your email. Circle, top of the list here this morning. CRCL. This thing didn't even budge on that number at 8:30. Still just hanging out at 180 here. Much better than expected results.
Yeah, they did quite well here, Brando. Let's talk about how they did. Q2 revenue surged 53% year over year, up to 658 million, and up from that 430 million they printed the prior year. The growth here was driven primarily by stable coin expansion. USDC supply jumped 90% year over year, now up to $61.3 billion. What an expansion year over year it was, and they maintain a 26% market share in the dollar-backed stablecoin market, with about only second to Tether, which holds 67%, Brendo. They did continue to lose money, so they lost about $32.9 million last year. That widened substantially. $482.1 million is what they lost this year. The loss does include, though, a $424 million stock-based compensation and about $167 million in debt fair value adjustments. So we'll have to see how they do in the next quarter. Speaking of that next quarter, the forecast here, $75 to $85 million in other revenues, remainder for the 2020 2025, and they're projecting about $475 to $490 million in adjusted operating expenses. So profitability still a ways away.
Worth noting, a few people talking about ETH here, back to highs right now. Not a monstrous move, but new highs just made there, guys, for ETH.
My mic is on, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so anyway, Circle, it's not, like I said, it wasn't going to be about the regular fundamentals. Growth is king, and with ETH making a run at the all-time highs, stablecoin, let's call it the stablecoin rally, whatever you want to call it, it's still looking long and strong. Now, what's weird about this on Circle is right now, you guys can see what's going on underneath 180 bucks. It's not as if there's a big, massive order sitting at 180, but there's a few shares there. It's, I'd say, relatively small compared to the 3 or 4 million in volume, but it's held since the number. We went right to $180 on a dime and then just stopped. Oh, and it just broke.
Oh.
Like, I literally went to go show the higher time frame, and like now they just released at 180 on Circle. It's not a move that I want to chase. Like when I sat down, we didn't know we were going to get this number, and 170 seemed like an obvious area to be looking for some, I suppose, like pullback and support. Now we have to go hunting somewhere else, like probably into the 175 range. I think momentum is your friend here. Obviously, in the market's head to the upside. This is not one that I would want to. Maybe like $200.
Oh man!
If you could move here, like $200 is all the way over here. That would be something that could make a little bit of sense, or like a 190 maybe. But yeah, now that it's broken at 180, all that will be left is a potential dip buy at those 75 level instead of 70. Makes some sense to me. Keep your eye on ETH though. You don't want to lose sight of the trend here. When this caught a bid, it gave you a couple of legs in yesterday's trade. I was on IBIT, and every time IBIT was made a move, ETH was like twice as good. So I think you're just trading ETH for the time being instead of Bitcoin. And prior highs sit here at about 33 even, and then there's a nice level of consolidation around 32.5, 32.6 on ETH. That's a good place to go. Lots of liquidity on that ETHA.
Yeah, the thing about Circle, in my opinion, this is the first earnings since its IPO, and I feel like there's going to be upgrades. They just reported this morning, so 7 o'clock goes the bump, and there it goes. Now it's, as Neil just mentioned, taking out that 180 sort of squashes that trade. That probably should have been taken, in the pre-market, to be honest with you, just a little bit, not like a normal pre-market here today for me. So, but there it goes, man, breaking through 183. I don't, the issue is that during all of this move down, it was just so negative. All of the talk about, wow, we had that nice move up. Now it's time to get back down. And we had thought that maybe the home for Circle, just like CoreWeave, was around here, this 120 to 110 area. We didn't get there. We actually stopped at 150. So now you're up nicely off of that level, and you're kind of coming into something. I mean, this would be the next breaking spot right here, and we're right there right now, 183, 183.50. Part of me just wants to go long right now on Circle. That's probably the right play. It's so far up right now, and this move is continuing. We'll talk about BBAI has a huge 4 million sell, so that's coming up soon. We'll talk about that. But there's Circle right there, just a 100,000 share buy. So, I could see this coming off of the stock. It's done 4 million shares. We could get a little bit of a move back down, and then we just use 180 as support. And if you're going to use 180 as support, I don't think you punch out till 178. So this is a good area for me for now. Pay for shorts, probably something you have to do. Let me just try it at 185 for 100 shares. Yes. So we have to pay for them here at Real Trading. You probably do as well. So if you're looking to go short on Circle, try to get the locates now before everybody else in the world tries. So maybe it might be cheap at this time, 9:10. So yeah, we're ready to go. It should be a good morning. We're not looking forward to talking about the third name on here, but Intel. We talked about this yesterday, and I said what's going to happen is the same thing that happened to Apple, where he talks down Apple, Tim Cook comes, makes an appearance, talks up Tim Cook in front of his face, and then winds up making some sort of a deal. So I wonder if that's going to be possible here for Intel. Let's go find out what the boys think.
Yeah, it was surprisingly little that came from this interaction yesterday, other than some, as Sean was just mentioning, positive comments from the president about Lip-Bu Tam. I was expecting a little bit more, as the guys were saying, as some sort of deal or some sort of investment or some sort of anything.
No.
It seems like it was a wash.
It was like very like 2-word responses, very interesting, very successful, stuff like that. No real details here. So as we mentioned, President Trump did meet with CEO Lip Bhutan, as well as Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent at the White House. Trump called the meeting very interesting and said Tan will work with cabinet members to provide recommendations next week, then specify what kind of recommendations or what they were even talking about. Intel confirmed the meeting did take place, Brendo, describing it as a constructive discussion with U.S. technology and manufacturing leadership. In case you're wondering what's going on, just last week, obviously, Trump publicly demanded the immediate resignation of Lip Bhutan over alleged conflicts of interest tied to China. The concerns really stem from, statements and allegations made by Senator Tom Cotton, where he questioned Tan's ties to the Chinese companies. But there is obviously precedent to this with Cadence Design Systems, Brendo, being the CEO there. They did pay a fine. They did plead guilty. So we do know that actually took place.
You pointed out last week the amount of, specifically the amount of investments this guy has, and in specific holding companies that only invest in Chinese companies. So much to do about nothing, I guess.
Feels that way.
At least for now. Anyways, guys, for Intel.
Yeah, but there was nothing bad, so.
I mean, as long as the government gets their money somehow. I mean, we're gonna talk about, again, the tariffs going through China. But again, Intel kind of blew that whole CHIPS Act money there. It wasn't even that much, considering, you hear Apple's investment of $600 billion back in. So, look, I like Intel down here just because of this action. I mean, I did not buy anymore. This is where I'm in, is down into here. And I know I'm feeling good about a chance for this name to get back into this area. Again, under fire from the president, and now, some upside playing. So, we've talked about how there is space for all of these companies to work. Obviously, Intel's still in the PC game as well. So, they don't have to be in these super high-end chips like NVIDIA and AMD seem to be having. So for me, it's an interesting trade. I have it written down here on the note, which, again, I'm still getting to. Down to 21 bucks, like the 200 period moving average. Yesterday we took that trade right off the open, and it didn't work, but we wound up making our money back, a little bit of it back anyways, on this support down into here. And then finally it broke lower and we got out of it. So it was very excited here. Oh, sorry, not that move. This is it yesterday. It was this move right here that we broke 21 early and we thought it was going. And then all of a sudden it came back in and we found some levels. And that's where we took advantage of that move back, only for it to wind up breaking. But, 21, it's not a super support area, but I think we could fall back into there. And if you wanted to hold it, I think you have this 2060. Like, it's not negative news today for Intel, right? It's only positive news, I feel like. So there's no point in this name fading back too much. So I think a 21 hold would be great. And of course, we just mentioned it right there, and the thing for out of no reason just pops about 15 cents. So, don't get in there and buy it immediately. Let's wait to see if this can fall back down a little bit. I wish we had that much power on this kind of a stock to talk about it and it bump up 15 cents. But there goes Intel. Again, I think 21 is worth it. Might not find too many opportunities, in the chip space today like this one where you could drop back into support. I really think NVIDIA just bounced off 182. I don't know. We'll talk about all these names. But for Intel, I just think it's a long, and I don't say it too often.
Yeah, we were sort of hinting at that yesterday. Like, every time it gets underneath $20 and comes out unscathed without making a fresh low, it's like, okay, well, I guess it's a long at least until you see what happens in the low 20, like 23, 24 area. Anyways, look, the 50 period on a weekly chart is the next step for this to show some kind of confirmation that this is a real bottom. But at least for today, I mean, Sean already mentioned 21. That's going to be a prior interesting level. When I look at that, I tend to think if it fills in the gap, like 2190, but that doesn't, who cares? It's a distinction without a difference. I'm going to take a shot at this breaking 2160 with a very tight stop. And only because what we were talking about the last couple of days is breakouts at the open recently, if you just have a relatively tight stop, it's like they either go or they don't go. Like, I feel like this is the kind of break where you throw a 21.6 break. I can throw a stop at like 55, really super tight. and it could be at 80s, 90s, even 22 even, or we'll be out for a 5-cent hit or something like that. Liquidity is going to be perfectly fine on this stock. You don't have to worry about getting slippage or anything like that. This breaks out, you get a cent or two higher, and you put your stop in. At worst, you get a cent or two worse. So I do like that breakout through that double top here on Intel, but it will be with a very tight stop. I don't think any breakout in this market right now, it's like go. If it doesn't work right away at 9:30, then I want to be out of it. That's simple.
Right. BBAI back to session lows here. Pretty ugly to start things off this morning, better part of 30%. Lower than expected report. The guidance a little bit questionable as well. I mean, it's one of those reports where there was a lot of caution in the comments.
Brendo, we'll have to talk about some of the silver linings here, but it was a tougher report to look at. So let's just talk about it. Q2 revenue came in at 32.5 million, which missed the analyst estimates of 40.5, and also down year over year. 39.8 million was what they printed last year. They lost about 71 pennies per share. The street was looking for actually a 6-penny loss, so much wider loss per share than analysts had been expecting. Analysts had actually low coverage on this. Only 3 firms polled by FactSet actually cover, so we don't really know a clear consensus of what it should be. They also slashed their 2025 outlook here. The new revenue guidance, they're guiding 125 million to 140 million. That's down sharply from the 160 to 180 that they had been guiding in May, just a couple of months ago, with the CEO saying he cited actually the U.S. government efficiency drive as a reason for the guidance reduction, saying that they're likely going to spend less with this company. He also sees potential upside from Trump's tax and spending bill, including $170 billion to the Homeland Security and $150 billion to defense for disruptive defense tech. Now, if you're wondering what this company does, let's just give you a little bit about it. They've been public since 2021 after they merged via SPAC. They specialize in AI software, specifically, though, for defense, federal agencies, and private sector clients. Despite the heavy losses, Breno, the stock has been up 60% year to date and 400% since 2023. So needless to say, it's had a good run.
And that's the key.
Yeah.
Huge run here, as we've been witness to, guys, for BBAI. A little bit of profit taking, most likely.
Yeah, so thanks for the sugarcoating that, Brendan. Yeah, profit taking, yeah, maybe that's what it is. But no, you didn't have a chance to take much profit unless you were sitting here on the call, basically, and made this move all the way back through 7, got out. As Sharif mentioned, it's just a nasty quarter. I mean, we wanted to wait to see if they could put up or shut up, and they basically shut up, and they didn't do anything, and it was really bad. So down 32%. We talked about that yesterday. Looking to take a little bit of profit on BBAI. There was nothing wrong with doing that before the earnings call, and some of you might have sat on this, and it's so bad that it's worth dumping, I think, off the open. Like, most of us hopefully are still long. We're still long that 420 marker, so we're still in the money 20%. But, at the end of the day, you gave up a lot there by holding on to it. You guys know 650 and 850 were some outs there. But their net losses increased huge, man. 228 million from 14 million. Not good, man. Earnings per share minus 71 cents versus minus 6 cents. We were talking about hopefully turning that thing green. Not that we thought that was going to happen. Also, margins compressing. It's not good. And then their back order was bad. Their log there, they had more in the pipeline last quarter than they do this quarter. That's not great news. There's nothing at all really good about this. I appreciate Sharif with the silver lining and everything, but there's really nothing here. I think this gets worse before it gets any better, to be honest with you. That's why I'm thinking that this is just a cut bait right now. When I wrote down, the sticky note's now out, I wrote down into here is the only area that you could possibly be thinking of. I mean, I think it's the same thing that we used to get some out up here, was between $7 and $8. I mean, we ran into some highs there. We were hoping to get up to there, but you cut it in half and you get back into $5. So I don't know. I don't even think it's there's class action lawsuits, but we already knew about that. I was hoping that those might be able to get a little bit of resolved, and I hope the backlog had gotten bigger, not smaller. So I don't, it's not affecting Palantir or anything today at all, but this name just got hit pretty bad. The only real silver lining, if you don't look at the numbers, is the fact that it's like a 40% short float, but those guys have won. So there could be some short covering that happens, which breaks it through 5.
That's what I'm thinking, because I'm looking at what happened in C3AI yesterday, right? So
Right,
C3AI was gapped down a boat yesterday. I'm not saying the same thing, but it's a similar sentiment, decent short flow, and it was gapped down huge. It was a decent, it was an okay short all pre-market, and even at the open for a minute, it gave you a shot. Like it went 15.30 down to like 14.70 or something. So you got a few points out of it. But then it broke away. And when it broke away, it got the old SSR bounce. So that's where my head is at in terms of like today, the day trade. Like I'm not really looking at the notion of what to do with this in the long term, because I think Sean already covered ideas for that, and the fundamentals Sharif went over as well. But just looking at the gap and then the trend down, it's like if it can take out this little wall here with just underneath $5, I think you have a chance for a nice reversion bounce. And the other side of the coin would be if we continue to go lower. I mean, the first level, we're already at 470. It's not till it gets to $4. So either it bounces right here, takes out that, it's 493 is the actual resistance level when I zoom it in for you guys. Either we bounce off the 70 area and we're breaking out above here. We'll check that. Yeah, 93, that's right. So either we break that out and hold here, or I'm just waiting for a mean reversion play. Like I'll let it trend down and look for that one snap back up opportunity. So after C3AI, I was looking short only in C3AI yesterday. I think I want to be a bit more nimble and willing to take the long bounce.
And to the upside, we go all the way to 54 here this morning. We are pulling back a little bit right now. Nice move, though, across a better than expected report top to bottom. This company specifically has absolutely nailed social media marketing and are paying a lot of influencers to market these shoes, and it's working.
I was about to get to that. It's working, Brendo, because the report was a blowout report. Let's talk about it. So these numbers, guys, are all in Swiss francs, not US dollars. Couldn't find the symbol for Swiss franc, so use your imagination. So Q2 revenue came in at 749 million Swiss francs, was up 32% year over year and beating the estimates of 705. Here's how they did in wholesale: 441 million Swiss francs, easily beating the 429 expected. Even their direct-to-consumer sales were up and ahead of expectations, 308 million Swiss francs. The street wanted 279, so a beat in all their divisions, whether wholesale or direct-to-consumer. And they also upgraded their full-year outlook, with full-year sales guidance now being 2.91 billion Swiss francs, up from the 2.86 billion previously guided, with gross margins expected to raise here 60.5% to 61%, up from the previous guide. And if you're worried about the Swiss government not striking a deal with Donald Trump and tariffs may ensue 39% you needn't worry about this one, Brendo, because 90% of their products are sourced from Vietnam, with new U.S. tariffs prompted July 1st price hikes. A price increase was targeted lifestyle products more heavily than running shoes. The CEO reported also no slowdown in demand from consumers or wholesale partners. And here's how they did internationally. Sales in Americas, as well as Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, all beat expectations, with China sales surging 50% year over year on the quarter, and the company saying U.S. and Chinese consumers are the most resilient of the bunch.
One of their highest end models right now, I don't know if you've seen this, but it's spray on.
No.
So they actually spray a mold of your foot with the actual covering of the shoe, and then it hardens, and that's how they get it to
It's practical?
fit perfectly. I've never tried
Very
it.
interesting.
It's crazy, but some of the technology they have is amazing.
That actually sounds kind of interesting.
I
But
mean, they bake, Gia gets her skates baked.
yeah,
So
I mean,
like I was
it's a
saying,
similar principle.
Yeah, so
yeah.
it kind of molds to
But that's what
the
I mean. I'm sure
foot.
there's lots of products that have been doing stuff like that for a while. And at the high end, it makes some sense, and bring it down to the everyday person, because that's what everyone loves. Look, it's diddling. It's not diddling in the middle. That's not the right way to think about it. But look, C54, I have trouble with this because I like the report. I think it's clearly made a pretty good trend break on the daily chart. It's above the 50. Like, there's a lot of things going on, right? Except for the brick wall that's at 54, which is pretty much exactly where, and that's on the daily chart, that's exactly where it's already pulled back in. I don't know, unless this is holding above 54, I'm really not all that excited. There's a wealth of names to look at, and there's one, if I can just jump back for a quick little second, because I don't know if I trade ONOM, but that 54 in the daily, you need to get through that level, and we've already pulled back off of it. I'm interested in what we just saw in NVIDIA after that number. Like 184 on NVIDIA is very obvious here. Like, this is now 31st, end of the month, and then a couple of days ago and yesterday, we've resisted on the number. We went right to 183.90 and pulled back. Like, this stands out like a sore thumb. You can call it like a triple top, whatever you want to give a name to this. If we make a fresh high in NVIDIA, that 184, that's a break and take. I meant to mention that when we were talking about Intel. Usually we have some kind of big cap tech names that you can throw it in, but I'm going to throw it in now.
Yeah, I have NVIDIA on my screen even before that was mentioned. I was looking at it as well. I was like trying to get set up for a potential trade there today. So I am also adding it to the sticky note here, that 184. Look, I don't have too much to say there on ON that we've already seen. We did see a bump there for Nike and a little bit of a fade. So yeah, I think that's not great news for Nike, but they're still up 1% here. As competition obviously is heating up, we know about that. So there's not much going on here. Just to check in on some competitors to see what was going on there. But yeah, $74, not much going on with Nike. Let's go find out about Archer, and then we only have 2 minutes or 3 minutes till bell open.
Portion of the show brought to you by our friends over at Beta Pro. Global X has expanded its Beta Pro lineup with 6 new triple leveraged bull and bear ETFs covering U.S. Treasuries, semiconductors, and Canada's S&P TSX 60. Now trading on the TSX and CBOE Canada. Management fees are temporarily reduced from 1.15% to 0.65% until December 31st with tickers TCND, SCND, SOXL, and SOXS, TILT as well. That's a look at the release there, Andre, if you can grab that. But shout out to our friends over at Beta Pro for more ETF products to tickle your fancy if you'd like.
Yeah, I don't really like picking winners and losers, but I know it's nice when someone can do it for you. Let's talk about Archer Aviation because they had an okay report. So about 36 pennies per share loss Q2 for EPS. The street wanted 26, so a bigger loss than expected with adjusted EBITDA also losing money here, 118.7 million. They're guiding a little bit less of a loss possibly with Q3 guidance, 110 to 130 million dollar loss. So not making any money, and it doesn't look like they'll be making money anytime soon. It's more of a future story here. They do have 6 Midnight aircraft in production across California and their Georgia facilities, Brendo, so they're building locally. 3 aircraft are in the final assembly with the first Midnight aircraft delivered to the UAE. The flight test program is already underway in Abu Dhabi. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, there's going to be a direct flight from the airport in Dubai to downtown Dubai, which if you have ever been to Dubai, takes an hour 10 to an hour and a half in rush hour. This is going to be 10 minutes, so it should be quite interesting. Their financial position here is okay. They've got about $123.5 million in non-GAAP operating expenses, with their liquidity about $1.72 billion in cash and cash equivalents, so they can keep the lights on for the foreseeable future.
One of those names that is very popular amongst the retail crew, guys, ACHR, on its way back up right now.
60 on Archer it was a flat bottom break when it broke yesterday, and it needs to regain that level. Like there's your obvious resistance at about 9.5 to 960. I said if it can't hold on to that, I'm not going to be terribly interested in it. But with only 30 seconds to go, there are the cannabis names that are very much in play. After yesterday, in theory, potentially could see a rescheduling. That was the word from the president. Tilray broke $1. I like it to 95 if we get a retest of the $1 level. I'm just eyeballing the $1 level on Tilray. Like, I want to be looking for longs as it comes back through. As long as it holds the 95-cent mark, the prior high, going to be on that stock for sure. And if it loses a buck, I'm willing to, play the other way. But it's above it right now. The market is up because they like what they saw with the CPI print. And Adara, let's ring that opening bell.
All right, there we go. We're going to watch out for that NVIDIA early break. Good job on that, covering that one, Neil, as we both kind of like that trade. So we'll see if there's any sort of an actionable play on that one. Also,
Tesla, did we?
No, so Tesla 347 is something that I'm looking at. But the market's trying to just figure itself out. We did get a little dip down into VWAP there for Tesla. So, okay, there it comes right now. It's going to the downside. What did we just get there? We just got Intel at 2105. The market's bleeding a little bit here. So we're going to have to wait to see if there is some sort of a takedown here of this market. I'm going to try to get into some Tesla. There we go. We're now into Tesla a little bit off of VWAP, just to let this market settle down. I mean, we got that better print, at least we thought it was better. So we're going to wait to see if VWAP holds on the market, and if not, then we can definitely get out of this Tesla. The low right there, 342.50. So probably worth it. We are now, we were just in the money about 40 or 50 cents. Let's take out something here. If we can get another little bump out, and then our stop order for Tesla, what about a 342 break? So 341.99. If we break through there, then we'll get out. I mean, we could be the wrong way on this trade. There's no doubt about that. But there it goes. Now your first dollar club right there happening on Tesla. So let's just wait to see how far we can go from here.
Yeah, Tesla, nice bounce.
Huge
BBAI
bounce,
is looking to try. BBA is making an attempt to run that pre-market resistance level. Could go in a second. NVIDIA pulling back in here. Obviously, it's not going to break 184. The prior support is right here at 181.60. We're going to get that any second. BBAI just broke through that resistance. New York stock, Neil. Come on. I know it's New York.
Can do it.
Low. There we go. That's just how it is sometimes.
Market's coming back a little bit here.
The market is making a nice pullback in there. I got to zoom in so you can even see the scaling on this. So we broke resistance. I think this is
185.
I think this is pure. It's just a pure potential momentum squeeze. So I want to take some out going into the 5 level. And if we break 5, the pre-market highs at 515. I want to make sure I get a little, 512. I want to make sure we get some out going into that. Then hold on to a small piece for like the dream. Obviously, the quarter wasn't good with BBAI, but I'm just looking for that like first squeeze, however far it wants to take me on that candle. If it goes underneath my break-in, my entry. I don't know why I would say break-in. The entry price, I'm just going to jump out of it. I still think it's just an SSR bounce play. That's all it is.
All right, we're also in right now with no chill right here for Palantir. So we got in some at 185. We had to punch the high because I missed the 185. I didn't even write. I wrote it down. It's on the sticky note, and it was a big trade idea, but we missed it. So it falls back into 185, and we got some more there. So we'll wait to see if this one has that 188 marker set to it or not. Of course, Palantir, if the market ever gets going, we know we like that name. And okay, I guess we don't like this name anymore. There goes Tesla with the move down as well. And I guess I can cancel my NVIDIA break. It looks like Palantir might be the only one working. NVIDIA downside like crazy right now, down into 181. Now red on the day for NVIDIA. Where is the bottom for this one? Palantir says no chill either. That's a nice upside move. But yeah, it's Tesla. And then Intel is very, very small in this area. But, you know, we'll wait to see. We wanted to try some at 21. It was a little in the money for us. But with NVIDIA cracking lower right now, I don't have too much faith in what this Intel play wants to give us. So, yeah, so far not the greatest here. Open for the market and some of these names that we thought we liked. But we'll try to dip by a little bit here just to try to, you know, get back a little something there. So we'll try some here on Intel. We still got Palantir, and then maybe NVIDIA eventually finds a bounce. I don't know if AMD does either, but right now the market's
I don't know if it's
the market's going up, but these stocks are flushing.
Well, big bull AI apparently. So it ran by essentially 1 cent. But I put my stop at break even on this thing. Again, I don't think the quarter was that good, but it doesn't really matter. The breakout does end up going.
Yes.
And it goes right to the pre-market top, comes back in. As I said, I was going to get out flat. I'll look to see if it starts holding VWAP. C3AI actually ran for about at least a half an hour, if not more than that, before finding some kind of a top. So there should be an opportunity to get back in. The other thing that's going on with the market coming back higher, Tilray does not dip into the $1 level. It's trying to break out the top here at 115. So if I don't get the dip, then I'm taking the rip. That wasn't even intentional either. But anyways, going to go for the breakout long here on Tilray as it's chewing through this 15 area. Once it gets through 15, I'm going long.
All right, I'm going to try again on.
Oh, NVIDIA's bouncing 181 as well.
Yeah. We're getting a great. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to take that one into the long as well.
All right, so we got, we're back into the money now on Tesla. We did wait for that to settle down a little bit, so we buy some more down there at 342. It's basically the spot that we tapped out on. So right now we're long on 3 names here. Intel, yes sir, Intel. Thank you, Intel. We actually wanted to get a little bit more down there, but we'll take this for what it's worth right now. Take some out here at 95s. We'll wait to get some more out at O's, and then hopefully that can rip up. We're actually at 98s right now on Intel. So not bad. So we'll see if that can get going there. And then, of course, Palantir, right now it's hanging out near the top. But I kind of want to let this chill out just a little bit more, see if we can get it going. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us so far. Thank you for putting up with our audio issues earlier. We're long right now, Palantir 185.30s. I'm going to put an offer right here again up near 186, see if we can get that in the 70s. There it is. Yeah, nice little fill right there. I'll hit the sirens up for that. So, you know, we're in this name. We averaged it back into Tesla. If this breaks that 200 period moving average, that's generally an area that we like. So a breakthrough now of 341, and we can get out of this. But we will reload that, and now we'll wait to see what happens with Tesla. But there goes Palantir, huge mover now up to 186. So that's going to be a good one for me there. We'll just wait to see if it wants to pop a little bit higher. And then Tesla's on my mind here as well, as we do get some money back into this name, but it needs to go up in order for us to get it out. So right now, Tesla is just having a problem down here at 342. I don't know. I didn't think it would be this bad.
Going up.
BBAI maybe
Oh, my goodness.
nothing else.
No, I can't. Now I have that stupid song out of my head, the Demon Hunter thing. One of the songs.
Oh, I didn't. Well, my kids were watching that, but I didn't make it all the way.
Yeah.
I had a hammer to hit on my head.
Yeah, that one. Anyways, NVIDIA just ran right to VWAP 182 and is pulling back. So I'm trying to reload this one in the quarters, like 181 quarters. You can see kind of like the pre-market low or area just held and did a wick. We'll try to grab that. Tilray. It was weird. Like I was actually trying to get. I think I had like a slow quote on Tilray.
Yeah, Tilray was.
I tried to get 15s and I don't know. I swung and missed. It was weird, and I had to hit 16s, and I swear I saw it on the offer. Still, it doesn't really matter. But I ended up with 16s. Even though the break was here, I should have been long at 15. I'm long at 16. It's distinction without a difference. Maybe I probably used the wrong key, is my guess, and wasn't routing. But if we get through 120. There's not a heck of a lot in terms of resistance till you get to, like, through this 122 area, so you get to 130, 140. So there's a lot of room for this to go. I want to give it the opportunity if it can burst through 120, but it cannot break the 120 just yet. I want to buy the dip back into VWAP. If it can hold VWAP, great. If it can't, then I'm waiting for the actual $1 level on TLR to the Y. BBAI is still going. I did not give that.
Yes, let's go.
I did not give that one enough.
You had mentioned it menght trade similar to AI too yesterday.
I know, and then I still got out early.
Yeah.
Because AI just here. If you're tuning in a little bit later or you missed it yesterday, the reason why you think it could go, C3 AI ran for like a half an hour after gapping down. So Big Bear seemingly wants to do something similar. I'm already out of it. And this sucker's through 520
I think Sharif's mic's
and
on.
trying to get even higher. So very, very strong day there. At least off the open for BBAI. Yeah, I'm hearing the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. We're hearing ourselves in our ear, Andre, so I got to take my piece out. If we can get that fixed, that'd be great. But other than that, man, all right, so Palantir coming all the way back in again. We're just going to wait to see if these pre-market levels hold or not. That's 184 and change. So looks like it's trying to fall back in here again. We tried to hold on to some of these things for possible runners today. And it just, the market, although is running, I think that was an easy Nasdaq long there. But I thought if the Nasdaq was going, we'd get a little bit more love from some of these bigger names, and we're not really getting those right now. So yeah, maybe it's just in the index, and I'm not sure what is ripping up right now. If we go into our hot list right here, we see Tesla. We're in Tesla, by the way, right now. We just took some out for some nice profits. I told you what we're doing. We're buying ahead of this 341 level. Let's see if we can get that. We're now long in the 70s, so it's 30 cents in the money. Tilray, Neil, we just talked about that. That's over $1, so we really like the way that one's looking. Soundhound on a day 3 or 4 plays going. SoFi up 4%. That's a great one. SBET moving as well. Palantir. So there are some names on here that are trying to go. Astis maybe.
ASTS up 19% and going. Hey, they're not actually going to the moon. They sent satellites up there. If they send one to the moon, then this stock would probably be, you know what?
The stock might moon.
No, I think they had a really successful deep launch. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But strong move for ASTS, up 19%. But the second you mention SoFi, you have to remember the biggest and the baddest right now.
Oh, BBAI. Wow.
Robinhood is right back. It looks like it wants another all-time high, up 3% and breaking it out. NVIDIA is still, look, I'm just in NVIDIA and Tilray. NVIDIA is battling with the volume-weighted average price. I'll take another leg out. If we lose this battle at 182, I'll take another leg out here and look for the reload off the 81. But decent bounce, but considering the market's at the highs, I'd like it to be doing a little bit more than what we're seeing. BBI is at 530.
Yes, finally.
Yeah. It's doing, this is pretty much exactly what C3AI did yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was
almost exactly the same thing.
the quarter was really bad. Like,
But then C3AI is not like that had a good quarter. I still don't even know what C3AI does.
So I took some advantage, some out there at $5, but for the longer term. But I didn't trade anything here today. So all right, we were able to get something out there on Tesla as it moved into 342. But now it looks like it wants to break lower again. I think Tesla's going to be a short. It's up on the day. The market's up. We thought that there could have been some continuation there. So it'll be a small hit. There it goes. But I mean, we tried it there. We'll slap a fail on the stock. We'll flush it down. I don't think I traded it as a fail, but it is breaking there. And see, now that it holds that 341, now maybe I'm thinking that maybe there is a long here. I still like the long. It's just you can't hold it through these flushes. That's part of the problem. You can try it again, maybe to try to bounce off 340. I'm gonna go again on it. Maybe this is being stubborn here on Tesla, but you've pulled back in a lot here. You're at this 200 period moving average. If you sort of zoom back out, I like these levels that we're at right now. Maybe we're just not giving it enough room down into 340. If 340 breaks, then you still have this 338 and change. So maybe I do have to give this a little bit more room, but we don't want to let our month just evaporate. Obviously, we're not going to do that. So just play with what it gives you, and right into there, we just got a nice little battle back on that stock and didn't take anything out again. So we'll let this bump up a little bit more. Palantir's doing Palantir-like things. It just ran the top again and came back. So 185.76 there. But you guys are all here for Big Bear probably, or some of these other stocks.
535.
Yeah, there it goes right now. So that's a big trade there for Big Bear. Hopefully you guys have that. But yeah, I don't know. It's still disappointing, down 25%, but it's not bad to see the action on it. All right, there goes Palantir. Let's break through 186.
Yeah, I just trailed some out of NVIDIA, but Tilray just lost the volume-weighted average price, and it's not. Oh yeah, it trades in Toronto as well. So the number one thing in the drop down is going to be the Toronto market. It just came back and lost the volume-weighted average price. So we got to wait for the $1 level at this point. And even if it breaks $1, I think if we take 90, well, I say we. As long as it holds 95, 96, the prior day high, then I want to give it a shot for reversion. But now that you failed a breakout through the high of the day, so that couldn't get through 120, I want to wait for it to break the trend. I don't want to buy the dip blindly unless I see something ridiculous on the $1 level, which I'm not seeing at this particular moment. So NVIDIA right now is going to be the lone horse because I'm not in BBAI anymore. And while we're looking at NVIDIA, which is struggling still at the volume-weighted average price.
This is crazy.
Remember? AMD, same move, but just a little bit better. It's above VWAP. It's bounced to $2.50 versus $1.50 off of the lows. It just seems like every now and then AMD might be a little bit stronger. Watch the 175 level on AMD. Sometimes when these chip names want to go, this is the one that goes the most. But let's be real. If AMD and NVIDIA aren't doing it, and Tesla doesn't seem to be doing it, why is the Nasdaq at the high? Well,
what
Meta, 3% to the upside.
Okay, well, that would
Microsoft.
That would do it.
I don't know the percentage, but it's blasting to the upside.
Oh, it's only at
1%. But Microsoft is at the highs as we speak. So Microsoft blasting, the heavy lifting is getting done somewhere, and certainly the rest of the Mag 7 are doing their job. Please tell me that Amazon is doing it as well. What is with Amazon, man? Amazon was part of the party, and now it's right back to where it was before. This is very much a Meta party. It's a Meta and a Microsoft party.
I mean, Google also is
Google as well?
204. It's starting
See,
to go
we like that.
higher.
It was a good chart. I like that chart.
Yeah, for some reason, what's his name there? Mitch said it was one of the worst charts. I don't
think he wasn't looking at the daily chart.
Yeah,
he was looking at a different time frame.
I don't know. He said it. He said he didn't like Google's chart. I don't know. And then
So here's the Alphabet chart. I think it looks so good. I think it speaks for itself.
There it goes. Tesla just dropped.
That's a great looking daily chart for Alphabet here. And as long as it holds, the prior top channel is holding with prior resistance into turning into support, that's bullish last I checked. I'm not a chartered market technician, but I can tell when a pattern is bullish. And that's a bullish looking chart. I think you see those all-time highs in Alphabet, and it's a great looking chart. It could easily be, maybe it's yesterday didn't look that bad either, because Yeah, you know what? I'm not trying to explain it away. I like the chart.
The market's not a short, though.
BBAI, though.
Yeah, that was a missed one, huh?
Well, it's, I don't know. Like, realistically,
Tesla just bounced again.
That's just, it's poor stop placement on the breakout because the volume weighted average, if I give it literally one more cent.
That's your style. I mean, that's.
Well, no,
usually
it's underneath.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I didn't put it underneath the breakout price by a penny. I literally put it on the breakout price, that's a little bit sloppy. I just had to move it 1 cent, that's all. And it never broke underneath that resistance level here from the pre-market. There might be a short later in this thing, but I'm gonna remind everybody, if you watched C3AI yesterday, it's not as if there was some kind of a great short opportunity for you later in the session. You had to wait until the after, like lunchtime, to short C3AI. So if you're trying to short BBAI today on a bit of a bounce squeeze, you might want to wait for it to calm down a little bit. Still looking at least relatively strong. All right, AMD still looking pretty good, but holding VWAP. Let's go to Adara here as the market pulling a little bit back in.
We do have a True Social post from Donald Trump this morning. I'm going to read it. It is about Jerome Powell. Jerome, too late, Powell must now lower the rate. So then he says that Steve Mnuchin, who recommended Powell, really gave him a quote-unquote beauty when he pushed this quote-unquote loser. The damage he has done by always being too late is incalculable. Fortunately, the economy is so 3-0s good that we've blown through Powell and the complacent board. I am, though, considering allowing a major lawsuit against Powell to proceed because of the horrible and grossly incompetent job he's done managing the construction of the Fed building. Then he just says that the money, they spent too much money on it. But long story short, not only is Donald Trump trying to force Jerome Powell to lower the rate again, but he's also threatening a lawsuit against Fed Chair Powell. Back to you.
Dude. Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, a day without Donald is a problem.
Yeah, it's a boring day. That's
a problem. Yeah. So now we get some action there with D Tweezy. Donald Trump do name D Tweezy. Okay, so yeah, just looking down here at Palantir down into 184. You know, I think this is worth a shot again now. Just to see, like, the market does feel weak. I mean, the longs have been getting squashed. I mean, we're actually up pretty good on Intel right now as we were able to reload that at the bottom. So, I mean, we're only long at 93s. It's the fact that it's a $21 name, we have more shares on Intel than any other position. But hopefully it can get back there to the upside, as we thought that there was going to be some positive talk there with Lip Bhutan and et cetera and company there. But hopefully Intel can go. We're going to try Tesla down here. I'm going to use until 338. So we're not going to stop out anymore until we get down to here. So we've lowered our shares a little bit. Let this one try to work out for us. It's going to be Tesla right there. Amazon, the move is pretty ugly coming back in for sure. Advanced Micro Devices quickly at 172. That could get going again as Neil's long NVIDIA. So hopefully that all works out there. Big Bear AI. I think it's worth selling some more. I think, 540 probably a good sell if you're long, especially, and you've sort of had to absorb what that conference call was, and it just was nasty. We didn't like Big Bear AI at all. I don't know what's going on with Tesla right there. It was up almost 1-point-something%, I think, and now we just fell right back into yesterday's close. So right now, Tesla, I don't have my earpiece in. Okay, let's go back over to Adara.
No.
Or to Neil.
Well, I can tell you right now, there's exciting news for sophisticated Canadian traders specifically, because Beta Pro by Globex Canada has just launched 6 new triple leveraged ETFs, offering 3x bull, 3 times bear exposure to the S&P and TSX 60, the semiconductors, and U.S. Treasuries. Even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until end of the year 2025, exactly December 31st. These ETFs also employ currency hedging to seek to neutralize USD exposure, providing performance that may more accurately reflect the underlying US equity indices. If you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out Beta Pro CA 3x daily to learn more. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you. Well, this market doesn't want to hold those gains. First bounce off 181. We got to VWAP on NVIDIA. You saw AMD did it as well. It just broke underneath that support that we had here at about 181.25. I don't mind getting back in. But that last salvo, like the Nasdaq also just lost trend as well. So we're kind of heading, like we're heading underneath VWAP, right back into the overnight highs. So patience is going to be the play. If you're favoring the long, then something has to give in terms of a trend break here, because the trend is not your friend. My hope, of course, is that Tilray might not care what the market does. I didn't blindly buy 101s, and it just bounced 101 once, and it just bounced 101 a second time. So forget about that 95-cent level if it's just going to hold $1. There's about 1 million shares on the bid, but I don't have to tell you 1 million shares on Tilray doesn't really mean anything on the bid. If it was like 10, 20 million, that would be a much more significant level. So it could break that like a hot knife through butter, but I'm sitting on the bid here at 2s. Just going to throw a stop to take a shot at this one above the $1 level on Tilray and let the rest of this market try to calm down, because you just lost 181 in NVIDIA. Not really seeing anything I'm in love with. BBAI, if we can come back to that, that's back at the volume weighted average price. So it actually did do a reversion back into VWAP. Not bad. But
all right.
I need to see it break this downtrend and hold VWAP before I would take a shot at another long in BBAI. So far, really, it was just the initial push on BBAI and then the first push on NVIDIA as far as the longs go. And looking for short trade opportunities, I'm not really finding anything I'm in love with. I want to check back in on Circle. Instantly failed that 190 level. That's trend down as well. I mean, to be expected if ETH is losing the bid, if the market's losing the bid. Let's let these things calm down a bit before jumping right back into the bias direction, which was to the long side.
Okay, so it looks like everything's cracking lower, as Neil just mentioned here, about having a bias one way or the other. We're going to try the TQs right down here, but I don't, we tried it at 92, it broke. Now I'm going to try it right here again at 91.70. We've sort of tried to chase the Tesla play because I thought that the market was holding up. So now we'll try to see if the market actually does want to hold up, but it looks like it potentially doesn't want to. I mean, this is on a 5-minute chart. You've fallen in nicely into some of these levels right into here. So we'll just wait to see if we can hold this nice little low there of 92. Sorry, 91.90, 91.72 there. But we're just going to get some more out as it's trying to get back to the upside. We did go into a little bit more of Palantir right here as well. So we'll see if we can get some of this out, hopefully, on a little bit of a take here for the market. I mean, again, these names don't look the greatest today. There's no doubt that the low is potentially even lower than this. We've broken through VWAP right now. We had that run right back into the pre-market highs. And again, we got a decent CPI print, but the market doesn't seem to care too much about that at all. It looks like we are in danger right now of losing that offer, or losing that bid, sorry, on Palantir. It's too bad because I wasn't on there and we just ripped up into the 50s, so we should have taken some out right there, even just for 10 cents. But okay, so right now futures are holding out for us pretty good, so maybe they'll battle back just a little bit. Taking a little bit more out here at 01s on the TQs. Again, let's see if it can rip to the high side, which is trying to do. So looks like we'll have a winner on this name, which is fine. We always should go back to the market, I feel like. Here we go, nice little bounce there higher. This way we're not battling individual stocks. I mean, Tesla's now is right back up, but again, this is sort of what we were looking for. There's the 337 breakdown. So yeah, hopefully Tesla can climb back up here as we wait and try to be a little more patient with the market. But yeah, oh, another name here. Good outs, couple outs there at the 200 period for Intel. So, I know it looks bad because, we chased Tesla a little bit there, but all in all, we did pretty good. We picked up the bottom here on the futures. Now let's see if this market wants to continue higher. I'll take some more out up here at 14s if we can. There it goes. Let's see if we can battle back. It's really just Palantir now that I'm worried about because it doesn't seem to want to go.
Well, BBAI is holding really, really nicely, actually, off the volume-weighted average price. But the other thing is we're back above 181 on NVIDIA, so that's looking much, much better. It's still downward trending. And the way I see it, it's going to have to break the downtrend, it has to go through VWAP. So I'm either long back again 181, or we're going to get the volume-weighted average price. But as I said, BBAI, maybe more pertinently, is bouncing off the volume-weighted average price. It actually has a 510 hold above VWAP. Not that it really matters, but that's where the actual bounce is. So I'm jumping in, just hit the 4s. And I want to be adding to this because if it breaks that trend before it gets to 520, because the high is at 550 and BBI down 27%, you got to figure it's already made a 70 penny move. It's got a lot of room to rally in here. So I'm going to give this to underneath VWAP and look for places to be able to add to it, as BBAI still looking pretty bullish for all that.
Should have just gone on that stuff.
For all that you say about the fundamentals, it's like, does it matter if it's going to go squeezing? Shorts have to cover, all that kind of good stuff. So as long as it holds VWAP, we're going to hold that long. NVIDIA still not doing much. What's AMD doing in the chip space? Come on, AMD. One of these two. If the market bounces VWAP, one of these two should be good. It doesn't look like it's going to be AMD. It might just be NVDA. And wow, shout out to everybody in the chat, and especially Juan Padilla mentioning some of these bigger cap. I mean, we're talking about big cap names here, but I'm talking about the Mag 7 names. Google came all the way back to 202, like pulled the entire move, almost the entirety of the move, right back into the lows, and is trying to bounce in here. So that was one heck of a pullback. You want to find the name that held more strength. Like Meta held on to VWAP, so that actually looks pretty good. Amazon was the trap for sure. I don't know why Amazon and Apple were so relatively weak, but something doesn't smell right with Amazon right now, as that just continues to flush. Just got picked up on Tilray. As I said, I'm taking shots at this one in front of the dollar level. It's bounced twice off $1 exactly. If it gets to, look, you get to 110, which is volume weighted average price, it gives you a few points to be able to pull out of this thing with a pretty tight stop.
Yeah, basically we did well to get out of the futures there on that move higher, but for right now, I still don't even think I'm connected to my earpiece. Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm just going to refresh a bunch of things here. It's funny that the only stock that seems to be working, yeah, I got it, Andre, thanks. The only thing that's not working right now are the longs in stocks that have been typically pretty strong. And of course, we're talking about Palantir and Tesla. The Q's trying to go upside, but here comes back in again. We are going to stop out of this. I just got to make sure, because my stops are all getting run, so I got to make sure I have other stops in right now. Yeah, this bottom play of 91.60 or 91.70 possible there. But all right, so we're into Palantir. We're going to have to get something out. Anytime this thing rips higher, man, we should be getting some out. It's been pretty weak there. See, like it's pretty weak again there today, and we're trying to buy this off the 200 period moving average. We did pretty good here, and then it lost it at 184. So now we're trying to get back in against 183 now for Palantir, which is the 50 period moving average. But if you keep looking, eventually you're going to find areas to support, but they're just not supporting today. So yeah, every single up move we should be getting out instead of trying to get back in on dips, right? So I think it's like fading the top trades is the right play there today. So yeah, just funny that Intel's the one that's working. Okay, here goes Palantir. One last try, and then we got to start to flip up our ideas here and look to go, there it goes, and look to go short on something. There's the breakdown. We saw Tesla breaking lower as well. There it is, the move, and here's the break again. So watch out for 337. The market's losing everything right now. Some of these names definitely coming out that we weren't really expecting.
Yeah, the irony, the only thing bouncing right now is Tilray that I'm long. BBAI is doing nothing. It's flat. NVIDIA just took the low again. So yeah, literally 1 for 3. If I go a fourth time, I'll end up red on this stock if I take another long on NVIDIA, which I'm not going to bother doing. The only thing going is I have to make sure I hit the right key there, because
had a nice rally.
No, I have this. I don't even know what the key next to it is. But we're trying to get back into 110. It was a failed break because 15 couldn't take out 20, and then it's now held at $1. But it's the daily chart that I wanted to show here. If it can get back through a 120, no matter what, if it breaks VWAP, I want to have a little piece on board so that I have something going into a possible 120 break later on in the day. Just want to give this one ample opportunity. As long as it holds $1, I want to try to be long this stock. BBAI is doing the same thing it was 5 minutes ago, which is holding exactly at VWAP. I don't know what to tell you. This is the third 3-minute candle that is bouncing off essentially $5.10 and not moving anywhere. But wow, this market is really starting to give it up here. And there's not a lot that's looking relatively
It's still green,
strong.
That's the problem.
I know, but we had such a strong move. Figma, if we're looking for relative strength, go figure. Figma up 7% and trending higher. And look, I was short this one yesterday. It was a successful short. It's breaking.
Circle is what we didn't look at.
Yeah, actually, I was going to go to Circle in a second, but this one could be breaking trend, and if it does, I thought it was a short yesterday, and we're able to take a couple of good ones off the highs. I'll look for a similar thing. It was a trend break yesterday that was fantastic on this stock, and if the market's going lower, then I will like long trend breaks to the downside. Let's go to Adara.
Red day.
Oh, I didn't pay for local.
It's our happening now segment, guys. This is the Nasdaq. Nice gap up here after some actually mixed CPI data. The year-over-year print was a bit lower than expected, but core year-over-year actually higher than expected. Month-over-month, we're both in line, so super mixed prints. Nasdaq, nonetheless, though, actually dropping even lower on the day as we speak. Now, what kind of catalyst did we get intraday? It is worth noting we did have President Donald Trump of the U.S. posting on Truth Social that he wants Fed Chair Jerome Powell to lower the rate, and he also basically said that he's actually considering suing Fed Chair Powell over the Federal Reserve building renovations, which you know have been a bit of a point of contention for Trump. Here's Circle's CRCL, this one on watch here, day one earnings. They did report a bit of a larger loss per share, but their sales were a beat and they were up year over year. Good look for this name. Then we have AAPL on watch. Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla, and a host of other companies, including XAI, is threatening legal action against Apple due to alleged antitrust violations related to their app store and how they favor AI apps. Last but not least, Alibaba on watch. Financial Times actually reporting that Beijing is pressuring big tech companies in China like Alibaba and ByteDance, owner of TikTok, to not order these NVIDIA H20 AI chips. Specifically, the government does not want this NVIDIA H20 AI chip used in government work in particular. So lots of catalysts on watch today, of course. Earnings after the bell as well, like CoreWeave, Kava, and Rigetti. But for now, we'll go send you back to the guys. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Flipped up, finally going short. Thank you for that. Okay, so right into here, we're going to refresh this. Right now it's Meta. We've already talked about that. There's some Circle there. Get your votes in. I mean, I keep seeing a lot of different names in the chat. So get going on that one. We'll figure this out right here for the TQs. People want to talk about that, NVIDIA, so on and so forth. So get your votes in. Hit your like, hit your subscribe. CleanSpark. That's the symbol for CleanSpark. Interesting. Okay, so CLSK, we can have a look at that as well. CLSK. Weren't they just pretty fresh off earnings? $10. Yeah, nice little move up 3% there. And again, this is one of those bottom picking names, I guess. It looks like you could still get into $9. But for right now today, yeah, breaking through 1050. CleanSpark with a nice little 3% move higher there. Yeah, taking the opposite of the market right now and heading higher. So good job there for CleanSpark. We did flip up our spot here on the TQs and we went short. So that was a good one. Finally broke through 60. We went short there, just covered some at 20. So making money back on the TQs, that's not the problem. The problem is really just Palantir and Tesla, two names that we've traded strong, long. Both gave it up today pretty badly. I mean, that was an easy trade there, breaking through 337 or that 338. But again, we were rose-colored glasses and only looked long on those names, which we should not have for sure. But yeah, maybe Tesla eventually finds a bid. I'm going to stay away and look to fade to pops. Same thing in Palantir. I am sitting here looking to get something near O's, if we can get something near 83 and then just kind of play off that dump zone right there, 183.50. So if we can get something a little higher here for Palantir, we will look to go short there. On PLTR. The market's now broken below, right? I mean, Google's given it all back as well. We talked about how strong that looked earlier on. Google right now, look at this, all the way back to 201. It had that nice move higher into 202.50, now back into 201. So I feel like it's a very, very tough day here for traders, considering the move in some of these strong names and then the fade. You know, generally you would think that you'd have a little bit of a pullback right now, and it doesn't look like that. Neil highlighted Meta. That was our #1 stock earlier.
Yes, strong as well.
And then look at Meta. Meta's getting crushed now.
Maybe
down $12.
Maybe the strongest stock in the market is just UNH.
Hopefully it's Oscar.
Well, that would be one heck of a rotation. Let me double check, because that would make some sense if there's a rotation into healthcare.
No, I just threw Oscar in there. I have no idea. I'm down.
Well, it's not really. Yeah. Well, UNH is unique, right? Like it's
unique name. Yeah.
It's ridiculously beaten up, and it seems to have caught a little bit of a bid. Not at the 220 level, so. I guess we missed out a little bit on that one. If you go to like a monthly chart on UNH, you'll find 220 is a bit of a theoretical support level. But buy program on UNH. Fortunately, BBAI, second shot. The breakout was good. The hold of VWAP, no moss. So I don't want to fight this one. If it's also going to head to the downside, then forget about it. Tilray got to VWAP and then turned around. It bounced off $1. It went to 110. Clean. And right back into $1. If it loses $1, I'm out of this thing. We're playing it off the dollar level for sure. Ari Page is asking about QuantumScape QS. I'll get there in a quick little second, but as Sean just mentioned, I just heard him say, are we bouncing here? And I have eyeballs on potential trend break on NVIDIA. Another name which obviously never broke out. Like I wanted Intel breaking out 2160. Intel's holding a higher low, so I'm going to get involved in this name. If it's not going to break out off of the open, then I want to play this off the volume weighted average price. If the market's bouncing, this is making higher lows. So either something breaks the trend or shows me some higher lows and trend of its own in the right direction here. Yeah, there's less size actually on the Tilray $1 level than there was the first time through, worth noting.
Okay, so yeah, for me, it's just kind of like, let's just continue the trend. We got out of the majority of our Intel, so if that rips up, still great. I mean, it'll be a positive stock, thank God, because we're looking for some of those today. All right, so the TQs is up to a level where we're thinking about getting more short. We talked about some of these levels here, 74, 75. I mean, coming up into the 200 period moving average, there it is. So now we're short and kind of married to this short right now a little bit. As the market comes right back to the upside, I just wanted to see, again, like I feel like the momentum there on that CPI. Don't tell me we went all the way to zeros only to bounce. I mean, that might be the case there for the Nasdaq. And as Neil mentioned, I sort of was under my breath there saying, is this going to be the move higher here? But 91.70, so now we're locked into the TQQs here, waiting to see about a break of 92. I mean, I know it doesn't really mean that much, but there's the VWAP, or sorry, there's the 200 period right there, 89 or 87 or so. So that's going to be something for me to look at for sure. But yeah, it hasn't been the greatest trade here this morning for me. So we're just going to have to battle this. Here comes the TQs nicely moving back in. Got to get some bids if I'm going to take some profit there, smart guy. So hopefully we do get some bids out here and get ready. It just went into the 60s and we should have took some of that, but we didn't. So yeah, let's just be as patient as we can be right now. What's up, Randy? What you
I know what it is. I'm wondering, what are you using it for?
Okay. I need that to measure some of the trades that I've got on here. They're not measuring up very well right now. Yeah, Tesla's tanking today, actually, Randy. But I don't have time to look at that right now. All right, so Palantir, stupid of me because it just went down into the 50s and we didn't do anything about it. We gave away a good winner on the short side, not only to lose it here on the on the long maybe, but yeah, these stocks trying to battle back just a little bit. Maybe that futures bottom was in right there. Who knows? But good move upside for Intel again, trying to go as we just wait for some Palantir. Where are we going to get out on Palantir? Well, it's right back up to 183.50. So I'm thinking that might be a spot. The TQs are now starting to go as well. So everything's starting to go upside right now. We didn't even look at OKLO or Circle or anything. I'm just into too many trades right now.
Circle is, Circle's fate is just like everything else. Like realistically, like so we were showing the chart of ETH trending to the downside. Circle, all it's done is fade since the open. It failed to break. It's been trending lower and lower and lower. It's actually as the market's bouncing, it's actually at the lows and breaking the lows here on Circle. And I think a lot of that's going to have to do with what you're seeing. Oh, never mind. ETH was trending down the last I looked at it, but it's right back up and bouncing. So go figure. ETH looking pretty strong as the market's starting to come right back in here. Okay, just two things happened. One, Tilray bounced off $1 again. So I reloaded it at ones. So I had twos before, and now I have ones, but the same story as before. Either the thing holds a buck or it doesn't hold $1. It's kind of binary. Intel trying to hold on to the volume weighted average price. Look out below, maybe for Amazon or not. Like I like Amazon. I recently bought it, and after earnings, thinking it was a good value, it broke $220 and is now trying to go right back underneath. This is a big level. For at least 3 days, it was holding 220.5 on Amazon, and the 50-period moving average sits more or less right here around the 220. So this is a key hold for Amazon post earnings, and it's a big-time flat bottom break here. Oh, the chart says short this at 220.50. I want to be long, obviously, but yeah, that 220.50, the first shot, that's a flat bottom break. I should be shorting Amazon when it does that. So if it gets above and starts holding VWAP over, then I can think about long Amazon. But even if I lose on the short on a classic flat bottom break, then I should be able to live with myself. You got to follow your rules. That's a good technical setup. I'm not sure why I wasn't looking short that break in the first place. Probably because I like the stock. You should never think of it that way. Never.
I like the stock.
You should never have a bias. If you're trading short term, then your long-term bias shouldn't affect how you look at a level. It's like that was a flat bottom break on Amazon. Relatively weak compared to the market is what it is.
We have Fed's Murin talking right now, so I don't know what is going to be happening right here. Darrow will give us some updates as we go right now. But yeah, just trying to hold out here for a low tick. If we can get it. You know, we've averaged into some of these shorts here. It hasn't been a great trade, obviously, if you've been watching, for me, for the up and down swing here. But we're into Palantir. Was just in the money. Like, all these moves down, we're trying to take a little bit of advantage of them, but at the same time trying to hold out to see if we do get some kind of an epic flush here. It just doesn't look like it wants to happen. I mean, again, with Fed speak happening right now, could go either way in the market right here. So we'll just wait to see what winds up happening as the TQs are basically in the middle again, still up now 0.69. The market's now up a quarter. We went all the way down to zeros and then came right back up, touched VWAP, which is where we put the short on. But let's go back over and see what Adara has to say as she's got her ear to the ground here.
Not only do we have comments from current Feds barking, we also have comments for upcoming Fed, Stephen Moran. That is, of course, currently the leader of the Council of Economic Advisors, but he's also been tapped by Donald Trump to take over from Adriana Kugler and temporarily be a member of the Fed. He is talking here about the importance of Fed independence. He said that apparently incentives schemes can drive these response rates higher. So he's not a fan here of some incentives, but he did say that apparently CPI data rarely gets revised. Story unclear how he feels about that number. Just quite a few comments coming, but one thing he did say is that there's no evidence that there's any inflation at the aggregate level. Furthermore, we did have some comments as well coming from Fed's Barkin saying that spending is solid, but consumers are getting tired of higher prices, and that apparently the employment could decline if consumers do reduce spending. So Barkin a bit cautious. We've got potentially upcoming Fed here, Stephen Moran, saying that there's apparently no evidence of tariff-induced inflation and no inflation on the aggregate level. I want to mention as well, apparently that bullish IPO expected tomorrow, BLSH, backed by Peter Thiel, is more than 20 times oversubscribed right now. Back to you.
And so get ready to rock and roll again.
For some reason, I thought that was Thursday. Okay.
Oh, okay.
We're excited about that IPO.
Let's double check that.
Peter Thiel bullish one. Tomorrow we're going to get it on Wednesday. Usually the biggest IPOs are going to be Wednesday or Thursday. I feel like the last few have been Thursday. I'm now into Amazon, as mentioned. It was a flat bottom break on the 15-minute chart. I did want a money fill if I could get it at 220.20 at the top of this range as well, but I took it starting just underneath the 220 level. Eventually, Tilray gave it up. So much better yesterday than today. Like, there were bounce plays, but your only play is to get all of it out every single time it showed a resistance, which is not really how I roll. Like, every single time I'm holding for more, and then it breaks out the bottom. So I'm going to give up on Tilray unless it does a flat bottom, rounded bottom nonsense and holds the $1 level for a little bit. But you could have bounced it a few times and just scalped it out. I elected to hold on to over half of it each time, which ends up being the wrong decision. As the market tries to go,
I know.
the higher low is still happening on Intel. It never reached the bottom. That makes it at least okay. And BBAI is actually still bouncing.
Oh, good.
Yeah, BBAI is down 27%, but that one's still trying to go. I'm just saying. And UNH.
No, I'm just laughing at myself. Man.
And UNH, it's still got this buy program on it. There's been like 2 red candles on this stock the entire morning, regardless of what the market is doing. Like, it's kind of beating to the, it's just marching to the beat of its own drum here on UNH. Been a pretty beat up name overall, but I guess somebody thinks the bottom is in, Warren, or whomever is making that call over at Berkshire. Oddly enough, it catches a bid when we hear Warren Buffett wants to buy the stock and get into it. I, for one, am shocked. You always seem to catch these lows on some beaten up names very well. So congratulations to anyone that happens to be UNH. I'm not in this swing anymore. I got flat on it, more or less exactly when I had a swing trade on UNH. Should have waited for Warren. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, that's what you got to do sometimes. And buying some Berkshire too, not horrible idea. All right, so we take advantage there. As Neil was talking, we were just all over the bid of the TQQs. I mean, we did get that fall down finally. We said that if we were able to get something into the position board, into the short as a good position, then we wanted to cash it out on the way down in, because this market right now back up to VWAP. So yeah, not great here for the TQs as we're trying to battle back on this thing. We're slightly down on it. We're not down that much. Where we're really down is, and as NVIDIA, I wish I traded NVIDIA, is Palantir and Tesla. So Tesla right now, we tried to grab that, but that no workout. We do have our stop orders in to go here. So if the futures do break above 92.40, which is where we're at right now, then we can slip out of that one. We'll take a little bit more into this, but yeah, 92.40, maybe 92.50. I guess give it a little bit more room. I mean, today is a little bit of a wild day here for sure. So we'll see if this short wants to play for us, but it looks like it doesn't want to and wants to get right back up and punch us out again as the futures get going. It's very dangerous to do this when Fed is speaking, especially we don't know what they're going to say. So I'm going to have to try to now, I guess, finally I say this, but maybe back away and wait until we get some news. It's only 10:15 right now. There is lots of opportunities, obviously, for this market to still move around, but there it goes through the high side. So slap a fail. Not bad again, but, you know, just trying to figure this out. I mean, I didn't think the market was going to bounce. I mean, if we did, then we would be hella long instead of hella short. So yeah, Intel, the only name that's working. I don't often say that one. But now goes Palantir. Good coverage again down here for Palantir, but then there's the rip, right back up again, trying to take out some new levels. It's funny that I still think short. I still think short. I'm feeling that, but the market's not telling me that right now. 184, and I guess we'll get out of this name, which is Palantir. We'll try it again here as we're at the 200 period moving average. Just throwing darts here right now. It doesn't seem like we're hitting the board though. We'll play this. Get a downside tick here. I thought the Nasdaq was going to give it up there. Sometimes when we get those CPI numbers and then we get all the way to the upside, we retested that very height again and then cranked lower. So I guess to wait for a short's probably, like a better short is probably up there, that's for sure. But here comes the pull down, and then there's the move right back up into yesterday's close. Well, that's not yesterday's close, sorry, this is a 24-hour chart. But right into some support of the pre-market for the TQs, and then looks like it's taking that support to heart and now making moves higher off of it. So yeah, you know, we'll reshort Palantir off the 50-period moving average, but definitely not working out there, that's for sure. ETHA, I guess, I see Bitcoin's not doing a whole heck of a lot. ETHA still up and holding the levels, right? We did pull back a little bit there into 33. So this is, of course, the Ethereum play that we've talked about many times. And that looks like it's trying to hold as well. Maybe a break of 33.50 right there gets to those highs. And then maybe we can get to all-time highs of 4,800 or so on the physical coin itself. I don't know. I'm debating getting back into this short on the market, but you know, maybe we have to let it settle down and see if it wants to break this level, 92.25 lower again. Palantir is finally pulling back, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm also hearing some stuff. Trump claiming that, well, I mean,
what now?
It's not really a claim, saying that tariffs haven't caused inflation.
Oh, okay.
And given the print that we got, I mean, it's hard not to, like right now, the evidence is the evidence. So I told myself, forget about the bias, take the short underneath 220.5 on Amazon, and it's now broken higher. So I'm out. The second it goes back above this 220.55 to 60 area, I'm just jumping out of that trade. NVIDIA broke trend, and at this point when the market's flying around, like I want to take trend breaks every chance we get. So when it did, I have to redraw this. When it did a trend break on the day, I just jumped into it to look to play into VWAP. But I'm going to give this not a very, very wide berth here on NVIDIA. Was able to take half out for a quick little scalp trade. Let's go to Adair. I think I just heard news.
Yeah, we have a really bizarre Truth Social post from Donald Trump. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It is incredibly long, but he's basically talking here about how trillions of dollars are being taken in tariffs. It's helping the U.S. These tariffs are mostly not being paid by the U.S. or consumers. It's mostly being paid by companies and foreign governments. But then we get to the Goldman Sachs part of this equation. But David Solomon, CEO of Goldman Sachs, and Goldman Sachs refused to give credit where credit is due. They made a bad prediction a long time ago on both the market repercussion and the tariffs themselves, and they were wrong, just like they are wrong about so much else. I am quoting Donald Trump right now, to be clear. I think that David should go out and get himself a new economist, or maybe he ought to just focus on being a DJ and not bother running a major financial institution. Yeah, bizarre commentary here on Goldman Sachs and CEO David Solomon right now coming from President Donald Trump. Back to you.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's entertaining. Someone in the chat was like, "Can we have a look at the stock picking board, the stock visualizer here?" So I just wanted to quickly show that for everybody. It's still UNH is way in front, and it's got a buy program on it right now. The market's trying to go. It is going. Circle after their earnings still up 4.5%, but Circle was up significantly more than that. Pulling back with the rest of the market. SoFi, Mitch liked it. We like it. Up 2 points. AMD in there. Went from green to red. Tesla as well. BBAI, that's a bit deceiving. BBAI just flashed into the number 3 live in front of you guys. But BBAI, that is deceiving. I know it's down 27%, but it's up from the open and is still technically trending a little bit higher there on BBAI. Those are the top names there. Of course, UNH, an absolute barn burner here today for reasons unknown as far as I'm concerned. And whatever was going on when the president was speaking, like I said, I had a tight stop. I didn't want to give it a wide berth on NVIDIA. Like, I'm not holding it to the lows because that trend break happened so close to the volume weighted average price that I need a break in VWAP or something. Otherwise, we hold on to the tight stop. Intel, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to want to go down when the market's going up. Position board's incorrect. I covered that NVIDIA. We might need to refresh the position board because it's been at least a minute or two.
But
we just bounced. Yeah, it's been over.
Okay.
We just bounced off the volume weighted average price on Intel. That's still looking relatively strong. And this UNH story, for the first time, it's actually put in a real red candle, like not like a tiny little one up here. So let's see what happens next. Like, is it able to, the buyers want to jump right back in and take it through the highs? Is this really just a squeeze play? Or is it just done, like a one and done trade? I'm going to be looking over at, again, NVIDIA, Intel. I still have Tilray up to give it one more chance here as it's trying to still battle with this $1 level, but you can see it's failing underneath the buck. It just went to 2s, back in underneath the 99 cents. Not nearly the momentum that it had in the afternoon yesterday when it was just trending for us. Adara?
$224 level. My microphone's on. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Don't know what happened there, but the IWM, I certainly know what's happening there. It's pushing higher above that 224 level. Great higher low and higher high here for the IWM. Speaking of going higher here, we got Telos, TLS. This is a day 2 earnings play they did post. Looks like a double beat yesterday morning. Wedbush this morning actually raising their price target on Telos from $4 to $6. This one right now above that 460 level. Then we have CRNC, Cerence. I could not find any news on this company, but it is worth noting they've rallied in the past and they've about a 22% short float. Last but not least, IHRT, much like TLS, this is another day 2 earnings play. iHeart Media actually missing on EPS, but beating on sales yesterday and trading near day's highs. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Adara.
Yeah, appreciate it, Adara. We appreciate all the patience through some of the audio issues that we're having. If you're tuning in, you know we're doing major renovations. You can see the work going on behind us. We just moved the production stage from up here, like in front of us. I'm pointing, you can't really see it, to on the floor as we're moving things. So they're now sitting right over there. And in the shift, obviously, things moving around. It's technology. Something's going to break every now and then, and the team's been working really hard, doing a good job getting it back up. Just looking in the chat here, I've seen a lot of people mentioning Texas Instruments, which quite frankly is not a name that you see talked about on the show a lot. But TXN is up 5 points today, almost 5 points today. It's not just UNH. And the daily chart looks pretty darn good too. You're at 193, obvious resistance level. At this time of day, with the market trying and sort of failing to get back to those highs, you got to watch out for that 193 to turn into a bit of resistance. Intel's still sliding here. Like, it just gave a nice, come on, where's the follow through? The bounce off VWAP goes right back into the pre-market lows. It's okay, Intel's going, about to break out, slides right back into the volume weighted average price. So it's still holding relative strength. Of course, the news here is Lip Bhutan met with the president and nothing bad came of it. nothing really came of it at all. But as long as it wasn't, with Intel, as long as it's not bad news and it wants to show some kind of a bid after holding 19, then I'm kind of with it. But if we don't start going soon, I got to look elsewhere. It's not enough that it's not going down and slightly sliding up. I want to see it break out that top and get back to the highs.
Yeah, some of these markets here today, tricky. But if you've seen Trade the Pool, they've been here with us now for a while. They're creating something special for you. It is their free ebook featuring 4 proven swing trading strategies from Trade the Pool's top funded traders. Inside, you'll see exactly how they approach the markets, how they manage risk, and the setups they rely on. You can learn from them and see what works for you. Download it now by scanning the QR code on your screen and hit the link in our description for more details. Thank you to Trade the Pool for all of that. There goes Palantir. Wow. It just took out 184, so we get that side of it run right there. But yeah, so check out Trade the Pool, and we want to thank you for all of that. And they're just cleaning everything up right now.
Well, there was like a cover on the floor.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's what
or
it
not
was.
cleaning.
Come on, futures. Right now, we're just waiting for these futures to get going. Intel's not really doing too much. Circle's been a popular name here today. And again, like, you know, I was thinking about Circle getting going there on their earnings report. We'll wait for some upgrades or downgrades, but right now, Circle was up 12 or 13%, now up 5%, potentially breaking through this 170, maybe something there as we look somewhere else instead of where we are looking. But yeah, right now, Circle 170, looking for a play there. Good report, we thought, you know, again, a higher net income, higher revenues, but at the end of the day, you know, good move for Circle off 150. We'll see if it comes back in. That's probably a good spot. Yeah, go ahead.
Like when you're just a recent IPO, everyone's figuring out how to value the company. So even if you have growth or whatever metrics, it almost it's like an anything can happen market where the only thing that you should care about is the price action. Because let's be real. This stock went 60 to 300 and is now back in the middle. Yeah, good luck anybody trying to figure out what the proper valuation is going to be. To me, you get a couple of reports. It's all momentum until you get a couple of solid reports in, and then you can start to decide what the company should, like what's the proper range and all that nonsense for Circle. I am excited for the IPO, which is coming tomorrow, the bullish, the PLTR play. So that I'm leaning toward. No, not leaning toward. That's a take at the opening print for me. I know market sentiment matters sometimes, and the last ones actually didn't work if you took the open print since Figma. That being said, this one feels like it's got the oversubscription. As long as we come in tomorrow, see buy imbalances off the get-go like we have with Circle and like with CoreWeave and with Figma, and no red flags, looks like there'll be liquidity, then I'm going to be jumping into that one off the open. But Amazon tried it off the pre-market lows. It broke, not the pre-market lows, prior lows yesterday. It comes into the volume-weighted average price, rejects the volume-weighted average price, so I'm going to jump in again. Well, I did just jump in underneath the volume-weighted average price here. Amazon, when the market was kind of breaking to the downside, it had already broken. And if you look at the Mag 7, just relative weakness here. And, you know, I like the company, I like the stock, but it's hard to argue. Meta is still at the highs. Actually, Meta's at all-time highs right now. After,
it is?
Yeah, it broke the all-time high and is now holding them on a, well, I don't want to jinx it or anything, but it just got right back and is holding them. Looks like it's at the prime spot to kind of pull back here, unfortunately. But it is relatively strong. That was what I was trying to get at. It's like every time I look at something, I feel like it's like the touch of death, and Meta's about to make a temporary high, unfortunately. Jumping back over to...
They're all starting to go now.
A lot of things are going. For some reason, Intel's not going. NVIDIA, I do want to give it one more chance here. It broke trend. I got in, and then we had news from Adara. It was like it was Fed speak, and you know, it was a bit of a shake and bake out, kind of a flat trade, but it's still holding the break of the trend line on NVIDIA. I'll get rid of that wick so the scaling will be a bit better, but I think jumping back into the long here is going to make some sense. I've been able to dodge most of the big flushes on NVDA, and now it's starting to look a little bit stronger. It's definitely broken the downward trend here. I want to see if I can work in before it actually gets to 181 and then play it through the volume-weighted average price here on NVDA.
Okay, it's again, it's too bad that we didn't stick with some of the plays that we had earlier, but you know, as I said, it was a pretty tipsy-turvy market this morning where we made those lows, and now we're trying to battle back upside again. I want to look at a name that was starting to go pretty nicely right here, JP Morgan. Wow, what a day they're having, and I mean, we just heard sort of the trash talking there of Goldman Sachs CEO, but what's Goldman Sachs doing right here? All right, I do have to attend to this because we are finally starting to get a little bit of a downside push here on the futures as we've just been hitting this short. We got stopped out once. The short up here has been fine. Let's see if it wants to continue to work. It's definitely has not been working. Our sort of plan of action. Why is Intel not moving? Okay, it's literally not moving. I was wondering if we had a stuck quote there. Again, take advantage. You know, we're loaded up to short now up here, and I think we finally may have found a little bit of an area, but see that little whoop down there? Definitely bought right back up again. So we need to break through this VWAP for this to become a successful trade. But there goes Bank of America, JP Morgan, all these banks leading the way today. And I guess, again, with the Fed speaking, with interest rates on the topic right here, it looks like we are waiting now to get negative news, and it doesn't look like we're getting anything. Trump's been speaking positively. We do have the Fed talking positively as well right now, talking about how they think inflation's where it needs to be. They're going to get that rate cut, it looks like. They're coming through. We had 93%. Let me just refresh it. It's 94 right now. I don't know if this thing updates automatically. There it is, 94.2. Right there, so yeah,
going higher.
So far so good here, but I might just start to tap out here and figure out what's going on, because now we didn't get stopped out here, but the market is now getting back to the upside. We were able to take a little bit of advantage of this dip down, but it has not been a good day over here for sure, as we'll give back like half our month here. We haven't traded that much, but all these shorts and longs not working out for me today, but here comes a little bit of a dip. Let's just take some more out.
What's interesting about that move is, look, the 10-year is, and again, this doesn't have to correlate, but the 10-year is actually not flying, but it's trending higher. So in the midst of this bounce up, you've had the 10-year Treasury yield going higher, not lower. So it's a bit of a weird move to the upside. Anyways, look, that just doesn't make sense to me. I still want to have some ideas for the short side, but as I said, NVIDIA had broken the trend, so I jumped right back in, almost the same price. If it can push through VWAP, I can find places to add. I'm trying to get some more at 180.60 here if we can, and play it into the volume weighted average price at least for now. Amazon's exactly where it was when I shorted it. It's gone like 3 cents in the money. It's gone 2 cents out of the money, 3 cents out of it. I don't know why it's not moving, but it's calming down a little bit here on Amazon. I do believe we're going to Adara at the desk.
Keep an eye here on the market. We do have some now more comments coming from Fed's Schmidt, and these are a little bit more hawkish. Fed Schmidt saying that apparently tariffs are having a limited effect on inflation, but that is still a reason to keep policy on hold and not an opportunity to cut rates. Fed Schmidt also says that employment seems to remain strong here and that inflation is too high. So Fed Schmidt seems to be firmly in the camp of keeping rates where they are for the time being due to where inflation is and due to apparently that the limited but existent impacts of tariffs on inflation, according to Fed Schmidt. Back to you.
We got
unlimited.
It's funny because now I have to change up the style a little bit, just to like very much scalping here, because I'm not, reading anything properly. So the market right now, we just got some more out in the 50s. Hopefully we can get some downside action now in the market as some of this talk. And it's, here it goes. Like, this is the thing, like when Fed's here speaking, it's not the right time to be putting on big time shares, which is why, again, I'm switching it up, trying to scalp out, not trying to, scalping out. Much more than we normally do at these levels, because we're going to get run the top again. If this breaks 80, we're going to get out, and then that's that. And it's a lot of back and forth. I see there's some people in the chat talking about, they're not having the greatest day here today either. So I'm red. I don't know what Neil's situation is, but we're trying to make a little bit of cash here, and hopefully we can get a downside play. Palantir's thrown us for a little bit of a loop as well.
I would say something, because this is one of those days where if I'm usually 3 for 6, like half winners, half losers, I'll generally be up, but not today, because it's just everything that doesn't work is worse than what does work, if that makes any sense. Like Tilray's worked for, Tilray was kind of okay for a bit, but it was the way that I is the way that I was trying to hold it for the big win that just didn't happen. So that is what it is at the end of the day. Like, to me, there hadn't been any massive hits, but there's just nothing which is following through. The actual stock that I like the best, believe it or not, was a breakout that just hasn't even happened yet. And it's not even moving. Like, this seemed like a really good double top here on Intel, and it's just not happening. And I see in the chat, like, I see Bro Jay in the chat's like, the VIX is dropping. Why is the VIX dropping? And I was just 2 seconds ago, why is the 10-year flying with the market? Not flying, why is it trending up with the market? It's only at 4.3, and I actually think it was starting to pull back here. Yeah, it's actually starting to pull back a little bit. It's only at 4.3, which isn't a monster level. It's more along the lines of, that's a pretty decent V shape that we just put in. You go to a 2-hour chart, that's much better, a 2-hour chart, so you can see. But it still broke out a little bit. And if we continue this, I cannot see the market continuing to blast if this sort of holds throughout the day. So I'd like to see it calm down, maybe pull back a little bit if you want to support those long. But everything to me suggests that why would we be blowing out the top? Most of the indications here are a bit of a sell. And I know I heard you say scalping. I just looked up and was about to put the trail on NVIDIA. Nope, I just punched out. It just went exactly to the volume weighted average price again and started dropping again. So NVIDIA has, every single time it bounces, it's going to VWAP and it's barely able to take it out and then coming right back in. I guess I don't like this until it can hold above the volume weighted average price. Just not enough oomph to push it through. Like, the market well through VWAP on the Nasdaq here, and continuing to press a little bit higher, but NVIDIA just doesn't want to follow through. It's holding 181.40 like an absolute brick wall. Maybe I'll have to wait for that to break to get back in. Adara?
Keep an eye here on the market. We have Politico reporting that apparently Philip Jefferson, who is currently the vice chair of the Board of Governors, is now in contention to be the new Fed chair. We know that Trump has been really switching around these picks quite a bit. He said last week that he was considering 4 people, the 2 Kevins, so Kevin Warsh and Kevin Hassett, and then 2 other individuals he didn't name. Late last week, we had reports that they were actually expanding the pool of consideration. Now we're hearing that Philip Jefferson is actually being considered to lead the board. So keep an eye on this market. Interesting stuff. Again, this is reported by Politico. I also have some news coming out here on Tesla. Apparently, they're moving their Dojo worker assignments following the cancellation of their supercomputer project. As far as I was aware, we already knew this, but just keep an eye. I'm seeing some news coming out here on Tesla. One last story that just came in. Keep an eye on Albemarle. Bloomberg reporting that apparently an incident at their lithium plant in Chile is being probed. Keep an eye on ALB. Back to you.
All right, yeah, a lot of probing happening right there. A lot of probing happening in the market today. As Neil and I both talked about what a rough day it's been here on the desk for both he and I, but we will hope that this can get better. And we do want to say thank you to Nimrod in the chat there. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there's eSignal right there. You can figure this all out with eSignal by scanning that QR code right there and getting involved with the best charting platform around. And it's going to give you 1 month of free data. And remember, you guys are a free platform. You can then entitle whichever markets you want. It's super easy to use. All the scanners available to you. They're curated. You can also create your own lists as well. All the indicators available for you on eSignal. So make sure you go check it out right now. And the indicator that's telling me right now the market's about to break long, not short. So some decent covers happening right there. I don't know if the guys went out or not there on Friday, but thank you, Nimrod, there. Barbarian for lunch, he says. So thank you so much. Oh, with my emoji there. Yeah, some steaks. I don't know what they wanted doing. I was not here. And I apologize, Nimrod. You know that I was not here. I had a date with my daughter there. She was in a
It was good. Actually,
yeah, what did you guys wind up doing?
I would give a big shout out to Nimrod. Like, I thought, maybe we would go for lunch, take him out. We actually, Obi, myself, and Nimrod talked shop for an hour.
Oh, good. That's fun.
We literally just talked stocks for 1 hour. Most of the boys went out. I couldn't stay after. I know they went for some drinks. And again, thank you for your generosity, Nimrod. You're awesome. Let's just leave it at that. And it was an absolute pleasure getting to meet you in person. Of course, we see everyone in the chat, and we appreciate everyone in our community for sure. We have a fantastic trading community here. No doubt. So if I'm waiting for this seller to break on NVIDIA, I'm just going to go long on a break. It's about 181.4-ish. And it just, like I said, it can't get through VWAP. I saw it sort of break that recent upward trend, and like the second I'm like, yeah, it's about to break out above VWAP, it just pulls back. So every single time I look at this thing, it just decides to pull back. But you know what isn't pulling back? BMNR. It's going again. Earlier I went to the bathroom, and the owner of the company was even talking about this. And first of all, he never talks about things. Usually you don't hear him mention things that are going on in the nitty gritty of the market. It would be maybe something big macro, but clearly this is the type of squeeze name which is capturing a lot of attention. With ETH making a strong move recently, what's weird about this is it's not even, I'm not sure it's correlating that much anymore. I expected to see ETH maybe pressing the highs when the buy program was going on here, but that's just not the case. Whoops. Oh, yeah, I have my toggle's on 5 stocks now too. Okay. So I have to go through the list. No, but this is buy program and squeezing without ETH. Imagine what happens. Think about this for a second. What do you think is going to happen if ETH breaks that high? This has just gone $3 with nothing happen in ETH. So I think this has a lot of potential. Keep an eye on that Ethereum breakout. If it happens, I might just jump over and take BMNR wherever it happens to be. Let's go over to Adara. Finally, Amazon's actually moving here.
Okay.
A lot of things are moving to the upside. If this board is any indication, finance really strong across the board. Goldman Sachs even up 3.5%, despite a little bit of a hiccup after Donald Trump called out CEO David Solomon in a truly fascinating Truth Social post, implying that he should be a DJ. Producer manufacturing doing really well. Consumer services, great look. Transportation, great look. Health services looking really good. Energy minerals, green across the board. Technology services, Meta leading this group, as I believe Neil and Sean mentioned earlier. This one near or maybe at all-time highs. Google and Microsoft looking great as well. Same with Palantir and Palo Alto Networks, which got hit with the whole sector last week after Fortinet's earnings. It's up almost 3%. They have earnings next week, and they got an upgrade this morning. Electronic technology doing well, too. We talked about Texas Instruments up about 5%, Qualcomm up 2.5%, Apple, Broadcom looking great as well. So generally lots of strength. The only areas with some weakness would be Tesla, rest of consumer durables looking pretty strong, industrial services, distribution services, and utilities, guys. Back to you.
You know what stuck out to me? CRM again. Another point down. It is a very slow bleed happening over on Salesforce, everybody. We pointed this one out yesterday. Well, someone mentioned it in the chat last week, and that's a stock that it just feels like it's starting to fall a little bit too far. We'll see. But I don't want to be too early on that sucker. Pull out a weekly chart or a monthly chart, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Wow, I see Archer. I'm going to go over to Archer in a quick little second. Finally, Amazon was doing nothing at VWAP, but it's starting to pull back in. At this point, we shorted it underneath the flat bottom break. That was a fail. Shorted VWAP. That's only gone one step down. The second step would be to get to the 220 level and then to lower the day. But there's no way, almost no way, shouldn't speak in certainties, there's almost no way that happens. Yes, it's relatively weak, but if the market just continues to bounce toward the highs, eventually Amazon's going to follow. I mean, I would think eventually Amazon would follow with it. For now, it's relatively weak, so we'll stick with it to the south side. Intel made another attempt to go. Every time it goes right to this high, it's 2120. It goes to 2120.
I'm at 19.
It fills you at 19, and then it pulls back. And then it bounces off 21. So it's just, I mean, that's obvious. That's just play that range until it stops happening, I guess is going to be the name of the game. I don't know what to tell you on that bad boy, but that BMNR absolutely flying. And as I said earlier, that's with ETH not doing anything. If ETH takes out that top, I know what I want to play, and it's not going to be ETH. I'd rather take the one that's going to move a bit more. These treasury names are great for momentum. You really don't want them on the way back in when the underlying actually starts to move down. But as long as it can be trend up or breaking out highs, then you can get a nice little squeeze.
Okay, yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to wait for is a squeeze down right now in the futures as we do get reloaded finally right now. So we'll just do Fail on some of the trading today, as we've talked about it, but we'll be back. Well, we are back right now to get going again. So there's that move down in the TQs, and then the stop again completely. This looks ridiculous right now, but we're actually doing pretty well, making back some money here. We just went into the 50s again. We should have obviously took more out because it was not expecting this to retrace back in, but here it comes back into the 60s again. So I'm going to sit here at 63 and take some more out. So there it is. We get another, or 64. We get another out right there, and hopefully this market will fall in and give it up, and then we need to give up VWAP. So I'm at 58s again, and then I'm at 51s, and then we'll just let it break, hopefully through VWAP, and then come right back in. So if you're riding with me, man, we're just riding with the shorts right now. We do have, as Neil mentioned there, we do have that great trade on Intel, and it was more just being patient and waiting. Like that 21 wasn't a great trade, but it was a pretty good look right into here as far as that long went, and we just kind of got lucky with that long. It fell into our lap, so we were able to trade that. Not lucky, we wanted to average into it, and it came back in. And the work that we did on the pre-market actually was pretty good because we were talking about into this area for Intel, and that's exactly what wound up happening. So we get lucky on that one. We don't have very much, nothing's really luck. It's a matter of just planning your trades. And I mean, and for Tesla, today, I always defend, so we defended VWAP because we got going up to 346, and we should have just noted that there was really no up movement at all on Tesla. We could have waited for it, but the thing is that so many times in the past we've gotten flushed and then we started to rip. And I was trying it off of VWAP there and off of the 200 period. Once we lost that, we were playing off the pre-market lows, and then that just did not hold at all, breaking through 340. This was nothing right there, but now I'm not sure what to do. If anything, it would be the short there, but I'm choosing the market to short, and that doesn't seem to be working out as much as this would be. So right now, Tesla looks weaker than the rest, and then the other name here that will be down just as much on this as we are on Tesla is going to be Palantir. Long earlies, long again off the 200, shorted into the 200, shorted into VWAP, didn't work, and eventually finds a top there at 184.70 before now bouncing back into these levels. So yeah, it's just like a scalping kind of mishmash of trading here for me, and it's not been great. We don't have those huge moves, and when you're using bigger shares and getting stopped out like 3 times in a row, it's not going to be the most eventful day. So we'll make back some here heading into the midday show. Glad to have, obviously you guys saw in the morning, so I was going to say glad to have Sharif back, but you all saw him in the morning there, so hopefully he's feeling better, which he appears to be, which is nice, so that's good. It'll be the regular scheduled, there it is, yes, give me those 58s finally. Regularly scheduled programming here the rest of the week until, of course, I take Friday off one more time. So we have our last baseball tournament finally this week. We do have practice tonight, yeah.
There's supposed to be some rain today.
Rain?
Wasn't it?
I don't know. We played last night. We won. I didn't get off the diamond last night till 10.
Maybe double check. I thought
15.
I saw rain today, but
okay,
I hope not.
Okay.
Honestly, I hope not. Because
same.
You never
my
late in the
kid
year,
sent
there's limited time for rainouts.
My kid hit his best drive yet. He just messaged
golf
me.
camp.
So,
okay, well, we're gonna get that. We have to go to Adair for some, I believe, news, and we'll come right back.
I want to mention this was reported, or something to this effect was reported last week, but I'm seeing this continue to come in right now, so I'll let you guys know. Apparently, Tesla is reshuffling its engineers after abruptly ending its Dojo AI project. Again, this had been reported as early as last week, as far as I remember, but right now getting recirculated here, and the stock is pushing lower. Forbes also having a report here about AEO, American Eagle. Apparently, their foot traffic is falling nearly 9% year over year amidst their controversy with that Sydney Sweeney advertisement. AEO actually popping higher on this, but regardless, Forbes reporting a 9% year over year decline in their foot traffic over the past 2 weeks following that ad campaign. Back to you.
Thank you so much there, Adara. Wait a minute.
Thank you very much, Adara.
All right, well, I'm assuming you guys heard that because I don't even know if I heard that. Anyways, look, BBAI is still technically trending up. This is one of those, and I was talking about this earlier as opposed to, it has nothing, most of everything today has to do with just execution thing. Like BBAI was dead on, the breakout was clean, I misplaced the stop and didn't get the bigger move. It bounced off VWAP, and I wasn't on the front end instead of the back end. It's been perfectly trending higher on BBAI. I do wonder, now that it's made a lower high, this might end up this might end up in a bit of a trend break short. And I'm going to show you, like, from when it held VWAP here, like, this is what I would be looking at. Like this trend line, which it's testing. Let me just see if I even have locates on BBAI. Is it free usually?
Yes.
Okay, it is.
I don't know about.
No, I don't usually look. I don't recall ever shorting it, so I wasn't even sure. But it's holding on to this trend. If it loses trend, that's in front of the volume weighted average price. That's a rule break, so I wouldn't take a trend break. I'd take it breaking underneath VWAP. But for now, it's holding on to trend. I know it's down 27 points, but if you look at what happened with C3AI, albeit you can make a strong argument that it was a bigger disappointment on the numbers with one than the other, but it's more about what happened here. C3AI caught a bid after being down well past double digits on their earnings, and sometimes it's just short covering, squeezes happening. BBAI perfectly capable of doing that as well. But the high that it made in the first hour of the day was resistance. So looking at that on BBAI, the other way that I want to think about this, other than just, hey, I'm going to take a trend break, which is pretty much normal, do that all the time, is if it has that same pattern, that the high that it made in the morning, like C3AI, is the high of the day, then I'm willing to short it off that high of the day now, now that it's settled in. There's no big levels when you gap that far down, but now that we've established something, I'd look to play the other direction on BBAI as we go up to the desk for Money Talks.
US dollar in a little bit of a flat bottom break pattern, if I do say so here. Lower highs, lower lows. This is on the 3-minute, creeping towards that 98.2 level. Let's take a look at the daily chart for some more context. Now, this is looking a bit dicey. We were in this uptrend pretty nicely off of these lows that we made on July 1st. But we get a bit of a topping tail candle yesterday. Today, we push a little bit lower. Let's see if we can hold up the support around 97.97, or we could be pushing back a bit lower potentially. Let's talk here about the numbers we had today. CPI year over year, 2.7%, lower than the forecast of 2.8%. Core CPI year over year, though, was actually hotter than expected, 3.1% versus 3%. Expected CPI month over month and core CPI month over month exactly in line with expectations, 0.2% and 0.3% respectively. Now, we had a ton of comments about the Fed, from the Fed, surrounding the Fed. Fed Schmidt and Fed's Barkin painting two very different pictures. Fed's Barkin a little bit more loose with regards to what we're seeing data-wise. Fed's Schmidt, though, saying that there is no reason yet to cut rates and that this is just a reason to hold, not necessarily a reason to cut. Then we had CEA Representative Moran there, the leader of Council for Economic Advisors. That is Stephen Moran, who, again, Trump has appointed to be on the Fed, replacing Adriana Kugler. He said that there's basically no aggregate inflation and that tariff inflation does not exist. Fed Schmidt, meanwhile, actually said that there is some evidence of tariff inflation and that even as small as it is a reason to keep rates where they are. So completely differing comments. That's not even factoring in what Trump said, encouraging Fed Chair Jerome Powell via a Truth Social post to lower the rate, quote unquote, and then also saying that he's considering suing Powell over the Fed board building renovation. So lots of excitement today. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and back to you.
All right, yeah, 10:51 right now. Yeah, so the market, as Neil said, I mean, it's just a little bit trying to figure itself out. It actually looks like it is trying to break now to the north side. So we're going to get stopped out here on a break of this level right here of 85. But we actually have done well to get some money back into the account here off of shorting the TQs, but all good things must come to an end, I guess. It's not been a good thing, but there it goes, breaking higher there. The only trade that we have long right now is Intel, but we don't make any money on Intel compared to the rest of them, so what we lost. But right now, nice downside play there for TQs, and, upside now for the Nasdaq, as we're all the way back up into some levels that we had seen before here today. 23,800, that could be a good short. The market's all the way back. I mean, we got that good number from the CPI. They're 2.7% versus 2.8, but yeah, market go boom to the upside. Like we were just covering down there at VWAP, and then once we noticed that that was no longer a great hold, or good hold, we now get stopped out at the top. Just a little quick reload there, but yeah,
NVIDIA
definitely
just broke VWAP.
Flushing down there. NVIDIA going back up. Maybe that's the long that we need because it's still down on the day.
Yeah, NVIDIA just broke the volume weighted average. Oh, you know what? I'll try to get rid of that
181 and change.
You caught me trying to get rid of that wick again. It didn't work last time. So it's actually higher lows all the way through and breaking through the volume weighted average price. But it's been, like, outside of the first bounce, like, it's been a struggle. Break the low, break down, fail at the volume weighted average price when we're trying to add to that long. But now we're through it. And let's see how far this one can go. I'm not going to give it a wide berth because it hasn't been that kind of a morning. Let me just actually get my stop in underneath the volume weighted average price here on NVIDIA. So I'm giving it to the prior bar close, which is about the 181 quarter mark. As we go back to the desk, we've got breaking news with Adara.
Ooh.
OKLO on the move here. Bloomberg reporting that the company has been selected for the nuclear pilot program by the Department of Energy. Keep an eye here in OKLO. This is also a day one earnings play. Back to you.
Yeah, that's another thing we barely even got to, breaking out the highs in OKLO, which I'm happy about because we own some SMR, but I looked over to see, come on, SMR, you're doing it too? And the answer is, why is somebody dumping this stock underneath $40? All morning long. Fail, 39.9, fail, 39.8, fail, 39.6. Lower high after lower high. So if OKLO continues to go, then this needs to break this downward slope on. I'm going to have this one up, but obviously I like some SMR, but it was OKLO that is a strong one. If it can retake the high, I think there's a good sympathy, a potential sympathy play happening as I look on over at SMR. Sometimes you see these sellers, and we saw this on Palantir yesterday at the open, where somebody was just in control, and I have to go Nasdaq to New York on PLTR, where someone was in control at the open, and then the second they released, boom. But it wouldn't sustain through that opening range high. So I like those types of breakout plays. I see one potentially brewing on SMR. Amazon, which is the only thing I think I've shorted today.
That was red, yeah.
Second time, it's holding underneath VWAP. It's not flushing. So it's bouncing. Sorry, it's not bouncing. Sorry, it's failing underneath VWAP, but it's not flushing back through to continue the short. Although, looks like it's starting to do that right now. As NVIDIA fails that break again. I'm holding on to Amazon as long as it holds VWAP, but every time I'm like, okay, this is going to be the shot. We're going to break through VWAP. Tight stops on NVIDIA. I think there's so much potential. $1, $2 if it can go to the upside, but it just doesn't want to follow through, so I'm not going to hold it if it doesn't want to follow through. The short on Amazon different because it's structurally on a 15-minute Amazon sets up. To me, that's the big difference on Amazon is this one is a short on a higher time frame, so I'm willing to just sit in this thing as it holds up. Like there's your lower high, there's your top, there's your lower high, there's your fail the lower high, there's your break at the bottom, there's your consolidation underneath. So I think this one looks a little bit better structurally, but everything else is going to be scalp trades for me at this point. Ooh, I forgot one thing. With 4 minutes to go, maybe it's because the idea of lunch coming in and getting to eat something reminds me a little bit about Tilray.
Okay,
Guess what's still holding $1? It's still holding $1. I mean, it's holding exactly $1, and it's not really going anywhere, but it bounces the prior low and is right back above the dollar. Now, I was long this thing on a breakout, then a dip into 10, then a dip into 1 twice. Each time, the mistake was not scalping it out. Every time I was holding for the bigger move, for the trend move to the upside, and that was a mistake. Now, sometimes you just got to take the profit and run what you can get and then not have anything when it stops out. But that's water under the bridge. It's broken the trend down on Tilray. So holding this long, if it can break out this 102, great. But I'm going to go for the simple, give it 3 cents or give it 2 cents if I can get one even and stop under 98 and scalp into the volume weighted average price on Tilray. If that's what it wants to give you, it's not 170 million in volume. If it's just a scalp trade, it's just a scalp trade.
All right, so yeah, Tilray, they're up and down as these weed names continue to go. It's funny because now the TQs want to pull right back in. But as Neil just mentioned, this feels like a little bit of deja vu as we'll talk about what's for lunch. I feel like the last time I did this, which we did it yesterday, but the time before that, it was also blackened tilapia. So that's what I have written down here as Tuesday, August 12th. So I feel like it's going to be changed. I feel like it was substituted in last week with something. Yesterday we had the Filipino chicken there, which was pretty good.
It was a different fish last week.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Tilapia. It was like some.
No, I think it was tilapia.
Sure.
But it was tilapia. Oh, yesterday's chicken. Yeah. No, but I think last week's was tilapia because everyone was like, oh, it's a bottom feeder fish and
people were
this
saying
and that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know if it was well received or not. But today we have blackened tilapia, roasted baby potatoes, seasoned vegetables, and of course a mixed green salad. That's what's for lunch. All right, so I'll just. wait for some more pain here as we'll go short a little bit of NVIDIA just because it did fail near the top there. We'll just try it just to see if it does want to get to the downside. That top right here is 60s, so if we break through that, then we can get out. But here it goes. Right now, NVIDIA, I guess it wants to be strong. I thought maybe this name wanted to go to the downside there on that rejection, but maybe not as the futures and NVIDIA continue to climb here right now. So there goes NVIDIA, 181.50, 181.60s, I guess. We're going to stop out there if it does break through those highs of 181.60. So here goes NVIDIA right back there to the top side with only a minute and a half left. Yeah, so we won't do anything too serious here. We're just trying to short that name. AMD, although because we're still red on the day, right? So I was trying to think like about maybe shorting a name that was red, like Palantir's up 0.7. AMD is now up as well. So maybe NVIDIA is not the right play, but that was sort of the thinking there, that we just made a run to VWAP and then faded out. I was hoping that this would continue back into the 180 marker, but right now it looks like it's trying to get a little meme crazy here, just taking out the offers every chance it gets. But I don't know. I throw my hands up and we'll just wait to see what this market brings us, hopefully in the afternoon, and we can get back our juge, get going there one more time. But yeah, right now the futures upside, holding out on a nice CPI number. Again, thanks to everybody for watching today. We only have 30 seconds left. As I said, we go back to regularly scheduled programming, which we're really excited about with Sharif and Joe. Yeah. So they're going to have some fire for you. Sharif's going to do his news. We'll talk about the weekend. We'll talk about the weather and see what's going on here. But yeah, then tonight, Dara and I, there's a meeting of the minds back there as they try to figure out
big thing
what's going on right now. So we're hopefully a couple weeks away from at least getting it to look a little better behind us. And then we got some technology
it's going to change
put
real
through.
fast.
Yeah,
I believe like everything, all the moving pieces are going to happen really, really quickly. Everybody, I'm surprised. There was a lot of hate in the chat for tilapia.
Yeah, well, remember last week it was not great.
Yeah, apparently it's just not the popular fish. We'll see how it goes. I think my gut is that we're going to have, actually, I think we're going to have the fish with our salad.
Right.
We're not going to have chicken. I think we're going to have it on the salad. So we'll let you know how it goes. But for now, everybody, CoreWeave is blasting back to the upside. So I'm staring down Tilray to see if we can get back above $1.
We're finally starting.
But I want to say CRWV is starting to go. Circle was having a bit of a bad day, but this IPO with a bit of a trend to the upside. The market's rebounding here after that strong number. And look, we'll be back at 2 o'clock. For now, you've got Joey options.
Yeah.
The professor is back, and the tilapia will get eaten one way or another. We'll see you in a couple of hours.
See you.
It will get eaten. I'm not going to throw it.